Declare the council meeting for the 30th August 2023 officially open and welcome you all here today. I'd like to remind everyone that in accordance with council's code of meeting practice, other than the public forum section, this meeting is being live streamed. To start today's proceedings, I'd like to invite Reverend Paul Mosachuk from the Liverpool Baptist Church, who will read the prayer and affirmation of council, as well as the acknowledgement of country, which will then be followed by the national anthem. Could I invite everyone to please stand?
Before we begin proceedings, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet and their ancestors past and present, the Cabral clan of the Darug Nation. I also acknowledge that on this land was accessed by people of the Darawal and Darug nations. We affirm our hope and dedication to the good government of our city and the well-being of all of Liverpool's residents, no matter their race or creed. Today we affirm our hope for sound decision by council, which will improve the quality of life in our city. We express our expectations and best wishes for Australia, our nation's future, the Mayor, councillors and staff of council, and all those associated with good government in Liverpool. Let's pray. Sovereign Lord, we thank you for the opportunity we have once again of meeting in these council chambers. We thank you for this great blessed country of Australia and for the privilege that we have in living here. We thank you especially for the city of Liverpool and all of those who call this place home, and as your word instructs us, we pray for her peace. We pray protection, especially for our law enforcement and emergency workers who have to deal with difficult and dangerous situations every day. There are also many in our community who are in distress or need help, like housing and shelter. Help us when we can to open our hearts, to make life easier for them, to care for those in need. We pray for the Mayor and councillors who have been elected to lead our city and placed as authority over us. We also pray that you would bless their families and loved ones. We pray that the deliberations within these chambers would be honouring to you, and that good and just decisions would always be made. That in these days of much uncertainty, these men and women will lead us by word and example. May you give them wisdom from above and courage to do what is right for the good of the whole community. And we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is good by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, all beauty rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair. Beneath our radiant Southern Cross, we'll toil with hearts and hands to make this commonwealth of ours renowned of all the lands. For those who've come across the seas with boundless plains to share, with courage let us all combine to advance Australia fair. In joyful strains that let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. And thank you very much, Reverend Moshuk, for your very kind words and for being here with us today. Councillors, we have today one councillor attending remotely, Councillor Ali Karnib, and I'd like to move that be accepted. Seconding Councillor Calienda. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. We have no apologies, which now moves on to condolence motions, of which there are 5 in total, unfortunately. The first one is one who is very well known to us all here throughout our time in council, and that's for Mr. Peter Donald Fraser. Today we pause to honour the memory of Peter Donald Fraser, former Liverpool City Council Alderman. Peter passed away on the 6th of April 2023, aged 86. Peter was born on October 12, 1936 in Coogee and attended local schools St. Bridget's Primary and De La Salle College. His interest in the environment appears to have started early. Peter spent his time before and after school swimming and fishing at the nearby beach and collecting empty bottles for 3 pence so he could go to the movies. After finishing school, Peter worked in several different jobs and completed National Service Army training. In 1959, he married his wife Joan, and they had 4 children. Peter's connection with Liverpool area began when he started working for Standard Telephones and Cables in Moorebank. Peter and Joan soon moved to the area, settling initially into a temporary house on Memorial Avenue, Liverpool. Over the next 4 years, Peter oversaw the construction of their permanent home on the same block. From early in his residence in Liverpool, Peter became actively involved in local affairs. He was a member of the Labour Party and was elected to Liverpool City Council at the local government elections on September 24th, 1983. Peter served on council till 1987. He also worked locally for cable makers and Grace Brothers in Liverpool until his retirement in 1991. After his retirement, Peter continued working closely with council and served on several committees, including the Environmental Advisory Committee, Access Committee, Civic Advisory Committee, and Liverpool Floodplain Management Committee. A passion for environmental conservation was always at the heart of Peter's tireless community activism. He was particularly involved with Liverpool's floodplain management, and he lived for several decades near Maxwell's and Cabramatta Creeks. In 1988, Peter's commitment was recognised by Liverpool Council, creating the Fraser Environment Award in his honour. Presented each year at Council's Australia Day Awards, the award remains one of Council's most important accolades. As a wheelchair user, Peter was also a long-time member of the Access Committee. He advocated for enhancing footpaths and pedestrian crossings, improving disability access, particularly on public transport, and curbing illegal dumping in the area. Peter Fraser embodied all the best qualities of a truly dedicated local citizen. His contribution to Liverpool was immense, and our community owes him a debt of gratitude for his lifetime of service. Peter is survived by his wife of over 60 years, Joan. I humbly express my deepest condolences to his family and friends, and our thoughts and prayers are with Peter's loved ones during this difficult time. May he rest in peace. Our next mayoral minute is in regard to, condolence motion.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Hull. My apologies.
I just wanted to add to that. I knew Peter for many years. I lived in the same street, Memorial Avenue, for several decades. Peter was always a staunch environmental supporter for the community, hence the Peter Fraser Environmental Award named after him. Peter was well known as a concerned community councillor for many years and well liked. Peter was easily recognised, travelling on his mobile scooter, wearing an Akubra hat and proudly displaying the Aussie flag wherever he went. As the Mayor stated, Peter was involved in many council committees over many years and for several decades after retiring as an elected councillor. Peter will be sadly missed for all the good he did, with extreme passion for the overall good of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hull. Did anyone else would like to make any further comments? No. Thank you. Our next condolence motion is in memory of Captain Daniel Lyon, Lieutenant Maxwell Nugent, Warrant Officer Class 2 Joseph Laycock, and Corporal Alexander Knaggs. It is with great sadness that we pay our respects and offer our heartfelt condolences to the families of Captain Daniel Lyon, Lieutenant Maxwell Nugent, Warrant Officer Class 2 Joseph Laycock, and Corporal Alexander Knaggs. These four exceptional individuals, members of the 6th Aviation Regiment of the Australian Army Aviation, based at Holsworthy Army Barracks, were engaged in a noble duty, serving our country and striving to ensure our safety and security. We mourn the loss of four brave souls who tragically lost their lives in a devastating incident that has left our community and our nation in deep sorrow. Captain Lyon, Lieutenant Nugent, Warrant Officer Laycock, and Corporal Knaggs were sons, brothers, friends, colleagues, and guardians of our nation's values. As we reflect on the tragedy that has befallen us, let us also remember the countless hours of training, the camaraderie, and the unyielding sense of duty that defined their lives. Their contributions, both in uniform and as members of our community, have left an indelible mark on our city and our nation. In this moment of profound grief, we extend our unwavering support to the families and loved ones left behind. Please know that as a community we share in your pain and sorrow. And to assist during this tough time, Council initiated a fundraiser, and I'd like to move that Council donates $5,000 to the Holsworthy Community Group to support the families and loved ones during this tough time. Let us honour the legacy of Captain Daniel Lyon, Lieutenant Maxwell Nugent, Warrant Officer Class 2 Joseph Laycock, and Corporal Alexander Knaggs by continuing to uphold the values they dedicated their lives to protect. I encourage all of us to unite as a city, to provide strength to those who need it most, and to remember that even in the darkest of times, the light of unity and compassion can guide us through, lest we forget. And I'd like to move that we, this is a /mayoral minute /condolence motion, that one, we write to the families of Captain Daniel Lyon, Lieutenant Maxwell Nugent, Warrant Officer Class 2 Joseph Laycock, and Corporal Alexander Knaggs, expressing our condolences for their tragic loss. 2, donates $5,000 to the Holsworthy Community Group to support the families of the aforementioned. And 3, observe a minute of silence in their memory. Second to Councillor Moon. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. So if I can invite everyone to please rise for a minute of silence, not only for the four, but also for Peter Fraser as well. Our next item is the confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on 26th of July 2023. Anybody care to move the minutes? Moved Councillor Rhodes, seconded Councillor McNaught. Any discussion? I'll put the matter. All those in favour? Against? I declare it carried. Declarations of interest.
I got 3.
Oh.
Hat trick. Com 02, which, hold on, let me pull it up. Com 02, the bookmarks aren't working. Okay, that's the grants and donations. I've had
I've had an association with one of the organisations, Como 5. I'm an ordinary member of the Historical Society and Conf 02. I know some of the applicants and recommended nominees, non-significant, non-pecuniary, and I'll stay in the chamber.
Thank you. Any other declarations of interest?
Yes, Mayor. Same ones, Como 2 and Como 5, for the same reasons.
Thank you. Any other ones? I have two. My declaration is to Plan 01, Hoxton Park Road. I previously worked as a commercial real estate and a consultant between 2016 and 2021, and I had provided advice regarding to this owner. I have a non-pecuniary, less than significant interest. However, I will be leaving the chambers. My second one is just one moment. Thank you. Plan 06 regarding Newbridge Road, 146 Newbridge Road, Moorebank. My interest is non-pecuniary, less than significant. I have made comments recently on social media that could be perceived as me having a position on this matter prior to coming to vote. My interest is non-pecuniary, less significant, and I will be exiting the chamber as well. Any further ones? No? Okay. Get back to that. I'll give you that shortly. Lovely. We'll now move into mayoral minutes, of which there are 4. The first one is regarding Western Sydney University. Here we go. Thank you. You got the old version. Western Sydney University's substantial investment of $340 million into the new Bankstown City campus is a remarkable development that holds great promise for the entire southwest Sydney region. This forward-looking initiative reflects the university's commitment to nurturing educational excellence and fostering innovation. The innovative design of the 18-story campus, with its emphasis on technology-rich environments and specialized focus on health, advanced manufacturing and education, is poised to equip the students with the skills and knowledge needed to thrive in the modern workforce. Moreover, Western Sydney's university dedication to sustainability, as exemplified by the 6-star Green Star rating of the campus, showcases its responsible stewardship of the environment. This commitment not only aligns with the global environmental goals, but also sets a shining example for other institutions to follow. In the context of Liverpool, Western Sydney's university presence in the heart of the city stands as a testament to the university's role as a positive force in the community. The outstanding campus in Liverpool, coupled with the new Bankstown facility, reinforces WSSU's significant contribution to the educational, economic and social growth of southwest Sydney. These campuses are not just physical structures. They represent centres of learning, innovation and community engagement, and play an active role in shaping the future of our region. The City of Liverpool is particularly fortunate to be beneficiary of Western Sydney University's commitment. The university's influence extends beyond the confines of its campuses, reaching into our local neighbourhoods and impacting the lives through education, research and community involvement. As Liverpool and surrounding areas continues to evolve and grow as part of Australia's fastest growing region, the contributions of Western Sydney University remain invaluable and deeply appreciated. And I'd like to move that Council recognises the remarkable impact Western Sydney University has had on Southwest Sydney and Liverpool LGA, and 2, write to the Vice-Chancellor of WSU, Barney Glover AO, and to the board members congratulating WSU on their incredible new Bankstown City campus and enduring contribution to education in Southwest Sydney. And I'd like to... Yes, Dr. Green, please. Lovely, thank you. Feel free to, if you turn on your microphone so we can actually have it officially recorded.
As an alumni of Western Sydney University, I would like to second that motion.
Thank you. The motion has been seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, can I just ask a question? So obviously we welcome Western Sydney University's commitment to Southwest Sydney and education in our region for many years now. However, I've heard some concerning discussions around concerns that the university holds about just the nature of some of the kind of stakeholder management, if I can put it that way, within Liverpool. And I don't see that kind of, that concern being addressed in the recommendations of this motion. And if that's perhaps the impetus for putting up this mayoral minute, perhaps we might like to address that.
Can you provide some clarification, Councillor?
I probably can't get into it on the floor of council, but happy to have a discussion offline, sorry.
Yeah, well, I guess if we don't know about it, we can't add it. But I think what this demonstrates is that how Liverpool is very, how we're very supportive of WSU's continued investment and contribution to the area. So it's, I think if there was any stakeholder issues, I'd like to think that this clearly states where council stands, and I think we're all very united in these positions. Any further discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Against, declare it unanimous. I'm pretty sure all the staff voted for that as well if they could. All the staff supported it, as I'm sure they would. The next one is is the creation of a project control committee for oversight of 711, 712 developer contributions, VPAs, and infrastructure projects. The City of Liverpool is experiencing substantial growth and development, leading to an influx of 711 developer contribution designated for infrastructure projects to accommodate this expansion. The delays in the investment of 711 contributions, infrastructure funding, has resulted in additional costs to our ratepayers due to missed opportunities and the depreciation of funds in a rapidly evolving market. The current market conditions indicate a significant continuous increase in the cost of building materials, further highlighting the urgency of prompt investment to prevent the devaluation of allocated funds. The creation of the Project Control Committee is crucial to address the challenges presented by our delays in infrastructure project investment. By establishing this committee, we affirm our commitment to responsible fiscal management, timely project execution, and the realization of projects that contribute to the well-being and the growth of our community. Therefore, I move that Council recognise the need for a dedicated Project Control Committee to oversee and ensure the timely and efficient execution of infrastructure projects funded by 711, 712, developer contributions and voluntary planning agreements to maximise the benefits of these funds for our community with the below charter and responsibilities. And I'd like to move that Council establishes a Project Control Committee with the below charter. The Project Control Committee is established to provide oversight and guidance on the design, planning and execution of all council infrastructure projects funded by developer contributions and VPAs. The committee's primary focus is to ensure that these funds are utilised effectively, efficiently, delivering high quality infrastructure that meets the needs of our growing community. Responsibilities include the reviewing project proposals and designs, ensuring alignment with community needs, council goals and relevant regulations, monitor project timelines and budgets to prevent delays and cost overruns with the aim of delivering projects within approved schedules, collaborate with the relevant departments and stakeholders to ensure transparent communication and coordination through project life cycles, regularly assess the impact of market trends on project costs and adjust plans accordingly to optimize utilization of funds, guide the contribution of plans and implementation to contribution plans and implementation of them to ensure the community receives the benefit as soon as possible, provide recommendations to council for necessary adjustments or relocation of funds based on changing project requirements or unforeseen circumstances. 2, the committee composition shall consist of the project 5 councillors appointed by vote on the council floor, reflecting the diverse representation of the community's interests and expertise, and the meeting frequency shall convene at a monthly time to determine by the chair to review the project progress, discuss challenges and make informed decisions regarding project design timelines and budget allocation. And that being, I put the motion, Actually, I don't need a seconder for that.
Sorry, point of order.
Yes, what is your point of order, Councillor?
Surely this meets the threshold of being complex enough that it almost breaches the spirit of Merrill minutes. On first read, I don't have an issue with it, but given the amount of money this committee is going to be looking at and the complexity of what's been put in front of us, I don't think it's reasonable to give councillors 15 minutes notice to make a decision on what is hundreds of millions of dollars. So again, sounds like a great idea. Looks like someone's done a crash course in project management, which is fantastic.
Oh, well, sorry, to rule on your, before going to your commentary, Councillor, no, I don't believe that this is, the point of order is upheld. I don't believe it. Establishment of a committee, there is no expenditure of funds in this. It's establishing a committee. The nature of the committee obviously is very interesting, but there is no expenditure of funds.
Well, I move dissent in the chair.
Do you have a seconder for that motion? Moved, Councillor Caliendo. No problems. All those in favour of, let me just check the code of meeting practice. Just move it as a normal motion. No, the council has moved the motion of dissent. I'm just checking the code of meeting practice to ensure that it's handled in line with the code of meeting practice. Bear with us, council. We want to make sure that you have your appropriate procedural fairness.
Thank you. You can't be moving this kind of stuff. I'm happy to defer this for a month to get a briefing to understand.
No. You've moved the
okay.
councillor. We will deal with it.
Seriously, the way we're going to manage hundreds of millions of dollars.
Sorry, what? Sorry, councillor.
I said I don't think this is the way to be managing hundreds of millions of dollars. All I'm asking
excuse me.
All I'm asking for is a month to give due consideration to what is a very important decision.
What would you like to consider?
That we actually get a briefing on this. We've had 15 minutes notice.
Councillor,
You're asking that five.
Can I ask you a question, councillor?
Yep.
How many governance committees have you come to?
Zero.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, no, one.
Thank you very much. One at the end of it, all right? So if you want to talk about good governance, maybe can I recommend that you come to the governance committees, because everyone in this...
Well, if we want to let's have a chat about good governance. Having a whole series of meetings for 12 hours a day, that is not good governance.
Well, council, that's your opinion, and you're entitled to your opinion, right?
I can get you some research.
But council resolved to do that way, which you're a member of this council, right? We are all members of that committee. If you don't want to be in that committee, you can resign from the committee. That's purely entirely up to you. But for the people who attend, I personally find it very valuable, and so do many of the councils who turn up here. So, because it allows us to inform good governance. And if you were part of that, you would see that we have significant amount of monies.
What's the governance committee got to do with this
all
committee?
due respect, I have not finished, councillor. We have over $280 million of the community's money that has been hoarded by this council when it should be used to build infrastructure and to buy land. We have significant issues in Austral because none of that money has gone out there and been spent. We have over $80 million out there at the moment, right? If you don't see a massive red flag with that from a governance point of view, that's up to you. This is about saying we're now establishing a protocol. Excuse me, councillor. This motion is calling to establish a protocol on that. If you have opinions that, can I say, are quite disrespectful, how you're putting them, I've ruled on your motion. I've ruled on your point of order. We're now looking at moving your point of your dissent. Please do not provide any further commentary on the matter in a rude and disrespectful way, as you have been doing, councillor.
Look, you haven't seen me be rude and disrespectful. All I'm asking for is due consideration over what is clearly a very important decision, and to, as you said, there is money in these developer contributions, and I think we know that, I think a big chunk of the problem actually lays at the state government, which I'm doing my bit to try and fix. But regardless of that, all I'm asking for is time to give due consideration to this committee.
Council, well, you've moved the dissent motion, right?
Yep.
In my ruling.
Yep.
Okay, that's what we're dealing with. There's no other motion that's on the floor. You have a second for that motion. I will now deal with the dissent motion.
Let's go.
All those in favour of the dissent motion, please raise your hand. Page. No, for a dissent motion into my ruling. All those against? I declare the motion lost. Thank you. So we'll now move back into the motion, the mayoral minutes.
Can I foreshadow? How does it work on mayoral minutes?
There is no foreshadowing on mayoral minutes. I don't think. I'll double check, but can I speak anyone? I'll just give me a moment and I'll hold that. Does anybody like to want to speak for the motion? Yeah, you can't for that. Yeah. There is no from my understanding, there is no foreshadowing of mayoral minutes.
I have some questions.
Yes, Councillor Green.
I'm wondering what the framework will be. Will this committee have the same charter as the governance committees?
The staff would take the outline of what's been put into here and develop that into a full charter, which they will then bring back to council at a later date.
I'll speak for the motion, Mr.
Yes,
Mayor.
Councillor Rhodes.
Look, there is a point that there is trouble that we are facing with being able to provide infrastructure, which no councillor here is going to deny. And this particular motion is calling for the council to bring back exactly what Councillor Green just asked for, and it can be all discussed at that particular point and improved, and gives you time, Councillor Haggerty, to consider all the options. But in view of the fact that there is a great need for us to be proactive and start to be able to purchase land to be able to provide some of the council infrastructure, I see nothing wrong with this motion, and I think it's a very wise decision for us to be moving in that direction.
Mayor, can I just
Yes, Councillor.
ask I'm not sure if it's ask a comment or make a suggestion here, but it seems like one of the sticking points is that there doesn't seem to be in the substance of the recommendation something that brings this back to council, and I think that might be the issue. So can I recommend that we slightly amend the wording to one, council develops a Gantt chart system and then brings...
Wrong motion.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I get your point. So Councillor, I'll move an extra point. The staff to bring back a report to council with a charter, but however we work on the under the basis of a temporary charter or temporary.
Or brings back the charter.
Yeah, they'll bring back the charter.
Yeah.
But that's not going to stop us from meeting, so we can at least have it start having a discussion and get the people around the table.
Yes, I think that would go a long way towards assuaging people's discomfort.
Yep. So yep, happy to accept that point to the mayoral minute.
Possibly may have been helpful to have discussed this at the governance committee meeting last week.
Yeah.
Just as a suggestion, because it is rather complex. I understand what the issues are in terms of, where funds should be going and how there are barriers currently in place that hinder the work that we want to do. But yes, I probably would have appreciated a bit of a heads up.
And a lot of this, and I take your point, Councillor Green, and a lot of this is driven by the opportunities for improvement in governance around how contributions are worked, the contributions plan. So that's why is driving this. Yeah.
But I guess what I'm hearing is that if there was a preparatory process, such as in the governance committee, with something that is as complex as this, and as also a big responsibility in terms of how money, and funding will be applied and to which projects. That's complex decision making. So
yeah, and that's why when you look at how our budgeting is going now, we just say no. Here's what you're funding, and it's like, well, what have we collected for? And there's
I understand.
Yeah, so wonderful. Are there any other further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to point out that we have had at the Governance Committee very detailed reports given to that committee regarding the needs for our opportunity to be able to provide our infrastructure needs. And this is just a follow-on from those conversations which have been fully discussed at the governance committees.
Indeed. All right. Well, if there's no further discussion, I'll put the motion. If the motion is successful, then we can vote on the 5 members of the committee. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it unanimous. All right, thank you. So now, obviously I'll go on the committee. Do we have volunteers? Councillor McNaught, Councillor Green, Councillor Rhodes. There we go. All right, let's go. So we have everybody wants to be on there. I'm happy to make it a committee. I'm happy to make it everyone, but we have to lower quorum in case we don't get the numbers. So we can have all members of council on the committee, but can we have quorum as a lesser number? We can?
Quorum generally 50% plus 1.
Generally speaking, yes, yeah. But yeah.
It's a whole of government, a whole of council responsibility.
But we need people to turn up to
It'd be 6 then. So if everyone's on there, it'd be so typical. So you can't have quota as a lesser number. It can't be less than 50% of.
You can determine that quorum is 5 if you want. So it's all council, but the council agrees that quorum of this is 5.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. Well, happy. So yeah. So we'll make it. So I'll make all members of council on the committee.
But the quorum is agreed to be 5.
I have it as 6. That's fine. Keep it at 50% plus 1.
And a further question, so this will come to the next governance committee meeting to then come to council. Is that the process that it will follow?
Yeah, I guess the charter. So I think what we'll do is we'll have a meeting about this.
Yes.
So maybe we will do that on that day. Maybe the government whilst we're all together and while we're there, and then we can work out. We can then provide more detailed feedback on it, whether we have a draft charter by then or not. We can discuss it, but then and then we'll come back. So yes.
Oh, let him talk. Mayor,
Next.
Councillor Harley, yes.
yes, you're talking about the quorum. It should be half plus 1. Half
Yeah,
the number.
yeah, it is. Yeah, so we keep it as per normal. Okay, great. The next mayoral minute is regarding the implementation of a Gantt chart for comprehensive tracking of council projects and reports. Effective and transparent management of council projects and reports is paramount to the successful delivery of services and initiatives that benefit the community of Liverpool. The availability of accurate and up-to-date data on project timelines and budgets is essential for councillors, enabling them to make informed choices that best serve the interests of the community. The demand for consistent and clear information from council staff regarding project progress, changes in timeline, and budget adjustments has been emphasised by council as a vital requirement for effective governance. The implementation of a comprehensive and clear Gantt chart system for tracking council projects and reports is recognised as a valuable tool to provide a visual representation of project schedules, milestones, and financial allocations. The primary objective of the Gantt chart system is to enhance the transparency and efficiency of project and report management within the council by providing a visual representation of project timelines, milestones, and budget allocations. This tool will facilitate effective decision-making, communication, and accountability amongst councillors and staff. The demand for consistent and clear information for councils underscores the necessity of implementing a Gantt chart system. The availability of timely, accurate, and visually represented project data will empower councils to make a well-informed decisions that align with the community's best interests. Furthermore, understanding the history of a matter, including the changes to budget and timelines, is paramount to councils making considerate decisions on behalf of the community. The implementation of a Gantt chart system for council projects and reports will be a significant step enhancing accountability and effective governance. By adopting this system, council reaffirms its commitment to providing a comprehensive, reliable information to its members and serving the community more effectively. And I'd like to move that council introduces a Gantt chart system for integration into council's existing project management and reporting process to ensure seamless tracking and updating information. The Gantt chart system will offer a visual timeline representation of the project phases, milestones, and key deadlines, enabling council members to have a clear overview of the project. The system should incorporate mechanisms for highlighting changes to project timelines and budgets, ensuring the council members are promptly informed of any adjustments. Bless you. 2. Budget allocations and reallocations shall be graphically represented within the Gantt chart, offering a comprehensive understanding of the financial aspects of each project or report. Council staff shall be responsible for updating the Gantt chart system as project progress, ensuring the information remains accurate and up to date. The council will organise training sessions to familiarise council members and staff with the system, ensuring its effective utilisation for decision-making and reporting purposes. And 5, adds the Gantt charts to the monthly meeting agenda as a standing item.
Question?
I'll put the yes, Councillor Haggerty.
Probably for the Director of City Presentation, or maybe...
Operations.
Operations, got to change the sign. Do we not use Gantt charts at the moment for our projects?
For our basic projects, we use Microsoft
Project.
which is a Gantt chart.
Yep.
At the moment, for West Invest projects, we're using Primavera P6, which is the top end for major projects. One thing Gantt do that we don't do now, it allows us to have a costed program of works. It also talks about the interdependency of works, that is what should precede other works, and also some of the correlations in costs which allow us efficiencies of scale. So if I'm pouring concrete in location A and I'm pouring concrete in right next door, I don't take the concrete truck to location C.
Yep.
And also we are just scaling up in our capability to manage a program of this complexity, which is mentioned in Conf 6 today.
All right.
So if I could just probably provide you some clarity, Councillor. What this is trying to do is, as you know, you've moved motions, we've all moved motions numerous times, and not saying that we lose track of them, but sometimes they're sitting within the system. And there was a little bit of a report that would, here's outstanding motions. What this is trying to say, so when you move a motion, right, then ideally, okay, when will that be implemented? We don't want full detail, but at least know, well, if you moved this, then by June, July, whatever that day is, it should move along on that. And just having that in the agenda, so it comes to us regularly. So it's really about motions, it's not that real technical stuff. But then on the other end of that, we have, say, for example, Civic Place and, the moving, what's happened there. Just trying to keep for us, we're seeing it consistently. It's very important information, and more so that we know that stuff is progressing.
Yeah. No, look, I've got multiple certifications in project management and I've used Gantt charts myself. I just find it hard to believe that we weren't already using it and that we couldn't just roll it up. But it sounds like with Primavera, we'll be able to sort of give, executive level.
I think at a basic
reporting
level, the project managers, yes, they use a Gantt chart.
Yep.
The success or otherwise, those Gantt charts give us the visibility of a program of works.
Yeah.
I'm less confident about, Council.
Yep. All right. So it's just, all right, getting a bit more sophisticated in our okay, all good. I'm on board.
Is there any further discussion? Your microphone's on, Councillor Rhodes. If not, thank you. If not, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. And the final mayoral minute is regarding public art in Big Park. Big Park stands as a cherished public space within our community, offering respite and solace to residents and visitors alike, including visitors from Liverpool Hospital. A public arts program in the park has the potential to play a special role in enhancing the cultural experience of the park's patrons. In this context, it is just to acknowledge Holy Mother Mary's role as a universal symbol of hope, compassion, and healing. Throughout history, the Mother Mary has been venerated as a source of comfort, especially by those facing illness and challenges. Incorporating elements of Mother Mary's symbolism into the park's artistic endeavours can provide a deeper sense of solace to individuals who frequent the park, particularly those seeking respite or having loved ones in the nearby Liverpool Hospital. Moreover, the strategic proximity of Big Park to Liverpool Hospital highlights the significance of this motion. As a place that witnesses the convergence of diverse emotions and experiences, the park can offer a serene environment for patients, families, and healthcare providers to find moments of reprieve from the demands of medical care. A thoughtful integration of artistic elements that pay homage to the Holy Mother Mary's symbolism can contribute to fostering a sense of calm and hope in those navigating challenging medical journeys. Taking the above into consideration, I move that Council undertakes a comprehensive investigation to a public arts program at Big Park. This investigation should aim to explore how artistic interventions inspired by the Holy Mother Mary's symbolism can be integrated sensitively into the park's environment, with the goal of providing a space of solace, reflection, and healing. I'm confident this initiative will not only enrich the emotional fabric of our community, but also align with our commitment to supporting the well-being of individuals facing health-related difficulties. And I'd like to move that Council investigates and implements a public arts program at Big Park 2, collaborates with local artists, community members, and relevant stakeholders to ensure the artistic interventions are culturally respectful and sensitive to the needs of our diverse community. 3, consider as part of the investigation process the appropriate placement of artistic installation within the park, considering the flow of foot traffic, natural elements, and accessibility. 4, evaluates potential funding sources, including grants and community contributions to support the development of maintenance of the public art program. And that being said, I'd like to put that.
Can I
Councillor
just
Rhodes.
add another point for consideration? We've missed out that a report be brought back to a council meeting.
Yes.
That's,
Sorry, thank you. Number 5, that a report be back to the council meeting. Thank you. Councillor McNaught.
Can I just make a comment, Mr Mayor? Thank you for this mayoral minute and for bringing this to the floor. From a slightly different perspective, as somebody who has worked many hours inside the hospital at Liverpool and loving what I did there, I think that this kind of place of solace and of reflection is very important for staff as well. There are some very heavy days that happen inside that hospital for patients and families, but there's some very heavy days that happen for staff as well. The park is a place where we would go for sunshine and clarity and a little bit of perspective. The Mother Mary is a very protective figure who is universally recognised for her protection, and I think that this would also go a long way for staff members at the hospital to be able to take a moment when they need it sometimes. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Haggerty.
Yeah, look, I appreciate the fact that in the recommendation you've sort of called out that it needs to be culturally respectful and sensitive. You and I were at the Ascension of Mother Mary the other day, and that's one of the events I make sure I go to because it is one of the special events. But I also recognise that so Guan Yin, who's the Buddhist goddess, and I think if we do this properly, we can perhaps have a piece of art that recognises the feminine side of spirituality, which includes Mary, could include Guan Yin, could include other sort of feminine deities, but that feminine side of spirituality and the healing power it has. So I think the way this is written is very good. It's respectful. It's open, and I look forward to seeing some of the ideas come out of it. So very good.
Wonderful. Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Calienda.
Yeah, I think it's. I think the use of public art to sort of, have that emotional impact on people is something that's well established, and it's quite. It's quite an important thing that we have visual representations of, community well-being. I think it might also be useful to look at how we can, encourage, whether it's the hospital in terms of the staff well-being or, whether it's other stakeholders within our area to sort of channel that into activating the space as well. Because I think, public art is one thing, you do see that visually, but it's also about activating those spaces where public art exists. So perhaps including something around activation following the delivery of the public art would also be quite useful in terms of making sure we make the best use of this.
Do we, out of curiosity, it's a good point, do we still have the activation in Big Park with the yoga, the Live Life Active with that's still going and all that? Yeah. Yeah, if I can we'll add a point, that point 6, that, activation be considered as ongoing as part of this.
So if you're again if at point 3, after considering the flow of traffic, natural elements, accessibility and activation.
Okay, that's an easier way to do it. Yeah.
Just do that. Just add activation after accessibility at point 3.
Yep. All right. If there's any further discussion, Councillor Hadid, Deputy Mayor.
Well, Councillor Hadid will do. Don't worry about Deputy Mayor anyway. Well, just the questions. Well, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not against your motion, but does council or will council consider a request from the Indian community to put status for Buddha, one for Imam Ali, one for Jesus, from different and various faith?
No one's spoken to me about that ever before.
Well,
That's covered in point
very,
two.
very legitimate point.
Sorry, can you put your microphone on, please?
Can I?
Yeah, oh, sorry, the CEO don't make one.
Look, thank you, councillor. Point two actually covers what you're raising. We will be taking into account. They keep moving it on me, so I can't read it. Collaboration and ensure that the artistic interventions are culturally respectful and sensitive to the needs of our diverse community. All that will be looked at.
Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Against? Declare it unanimous. So we'll now move into Plan 01, page 60, tab 1, recommendation on page 61. And thankfully, we do have a deputy mayor, so it doesn't matter. So please. That's all right. I'll have a look. Feel free to do Newbridge Road. That's all right. You want to, yeah, but maybe you want to bring forward. Which one? Bring forward that one. 06? Plan 06. That way.
You don't have to go out twice.
Yeah, okay.
Great.
Take your time.
Plan 01.
Okay.
Page 60.
It's Plan 01, page 60. Recommendation on 61. I have a motion in this regard. The motion is that council defer Plan 01 and direct the CEO to have a community consultation session. That's it. Moved by me, seconded by Councillor Green. Any discussion? If not discussion, I put the motion. All in favour, say aye. We have to take note of the name. Okay? I declare it carried unanimously. Yep. Yeah, all of them. Now,
I have a question through Deputy Mayor, through the Chair.
yes.
I have a question.
Yes. It's all right.
Probably
It's all right.
through the CEO. I have an issue with this property at the moment that we're referring to here. If you drive past it, there's considerable works going on there at the moment. And there, as far as I know, there is no DA in to do any of the works that are currently occurring there. So should we be looking at this?
Thank you, councillor. What I will do is, as we've now deferred this item and it's going to community consultation, I'll ensure that the Director of Planning and Compliance has a look at it. And of course, we will come back to you with that. If we need further information, the Director will be in touch with you directly, but we can report back when we come back on the item.
I have a question, seeing though we're allowing them after we've voted on it. Through the CEO, another question that I have got is, considering that this is transport corridor, and we've got, as such, I think we've already resolved that there isn't a limit on the height. But what I'm interested in is the later state government movement for affordable housing and state significant development. And I'm concerned about our roads as to how they're going to be able to cope with traffic issues. Included in the report, when this comes back, can we also consider if there is anything recognised for the upgrade of Hoxton Park Road, so that we know, have some idea of the capacity in the future that is planned for that particular road?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Councillor Rod. Well, as long as we defer the item now.
I realise that.
So later on, when we
I'll do it.
receive a report,
you.
we will talk about it.
I'm happy
Thank
to.
you.
Can I just ask a quick question about the time frame? So obviously the motion's been deferred in terms of community consultation.
I'm not hearing. I don't know why some of the speakers aren't working well. Sorry, councillor.
My question was around time frame. So the motion's been deferred for community consultation.
Yes.
When does that begin? When does that end?
So we'll commence looking at it tomorrow. I'm going going to come. Sorry. Yes, we'll start to look at it tomorrow. I would hope that not the next council meeting, but the one after. I would anticipate we'd need at least 4 to 6 weeks for the proper community consultation, and then we will come back to you, plus the other 2 issues that have just been raised by the 2 councils. I want to be able to look at that. So I would anticipate not the next council meeting, but the one after. We will work towards that, councillor.
Anyway, thank you. Any more question? Any more discussion? None. Thank you very much. Now we'll look, councillors, if I can move Plan 06 next to deal with it as long as the mayor is taking a break. As a Plan 06, Addendum Book 3. Is it 5? Let's say 3 and 4, isn't it? 5? Book 5? Number 3. It's moved by Councillor Rhodes, seconded by Councillor McNaught. Any discussion? No discussion, no question. I put the motion. All in favour say aye. Against? None. I declare carried. Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, you can come back.
If someone could please ask the mayor to return. Thank you, Harris. Mr. Deputy Mayor, you should probably stay in the chair till the mayor returns. Mr. Deputy Mayor, you should stay in future. You should stay in the chair till the mayor returns.
He got more motions done in 3 minutes than the mayor's got in an hour. This is great.
I've got to wait till he returns. I can't have an empty chair.
Okay. We called him and didn't come. Let's go back.
Keep going, keep going.
Okay.
Wait till he actually comes and then you swap. That's how we used to do it in Parliament. Never leave an empty chair.
I thought he's just behind here.
Sorry, lad. You've got the minute cancels the minute the chair's vacant.
Let's just go wait till we have to wait for him.
Thank you, sir.
Both
Thank you.
items are done. First one's deferred, second one is approved.
Cool. Okay, let's go. Now, next item is Plan 02, page 73, tab, with recommendation page 74, about provisions for electrical vehicles and infrastructure in homes.
I have a motion.
Yes,
Mr.
Councillor McNaught.
Mayor. Sorry. I'd like to defer this for a short report to come back to council. Based on, I guess I need a seconder before I say why.
I'll second it with an additional point.
Yeah.
To the,
What's...
Well,
So you're moving deferral
I'm moving a deferral for a report to come back
about...
about the. So while I'm in support of this in principle, I would like to know, with our cost of living crisis that we're all in at the moment, how much this is going to add to each individual.
So-
Well, to anywhere that we're planning to put this in.
A report on the cost, the financial implications of implementing
Financial
this.
implications
Yep.
of this for both the infrastructure and then also, if we can, for the and someone will need to help me with the word, for the hardware for the infrastructure, so to speak, the conduit, that kind of
Yep.
lesser impact, but the cost of both, please, and what that will add to people's
Yep,
plans.
great. Councillor Rhodes, what
yes,
like that to?
I'm totally on board with Councillor McNaught, but I have an additional concern about our provision for electric vehicle infrastructure and the benefit to it, to the actual community. It's only a benefit to the community if we've got a source of green energy, and nowhere on any page are we having some sort of discussion about that. The problem why I bring this up is that, we don't want to, like, once air conditioners were once encouraged to, as a method of against heat mitigation. It's based on electricity. Today, we have people who can't afford to turn on their air conditioner because of the cost of electricity. We need to have this addressed, or a discussion in around it included in the report. That was all. Thank you. If that will be...
Is the mover happy with that?
Can you just
Summarise it.
just summarise that?
Okay, all we're asking for is a discussion or a point discussion about the incurring costs on electricity.
Yeah.
No, that's to implement this. This is the constituent cost.
Okay. So your point is that it's one thing if you're putting in electric vehicles but are being fueled by brown energy and the rising electrical cost. So you want to know
Whether we can, if there's anything that we can do through the DCP that will address the issue of some sort of control in costs for the constituent to be able to charge their cars. Sorry?
Basics.
Councillor, yeah. Yeah, so I'm just trying to work out how we can summarise that into a point.
So basically, what I'm understanding from Councillor Rhodes is what she wants to do is, if we were to put these stations in, how much is the person on the other end going to cost him to recharge that vehicle? So if we're looking at that type of spectrum,
projection of electricity costs.
Yeah. So why don't we say what would it cost for that same person to put solar on their property, basically?
So, yeah, if we can put maybe, say, the cost to the consumer.
Yeah.
Cost to the consumer.
There we go. Thank you, CEO. That's
Thank
full cost to the consumer. Forwards?
Yeah, so if it should simply read that we investigate the cost to council and separately the cost to the consumer.
For installation, I think your point, Councillor McNaught, is about installation, and Councillor Rhodes' point is about operational ongoing costs. Sorry, can everyone turn off their microphone, please? I'll get to you in a moment, Councillor Harrell.
Sorry, mine was not about the cost to council, mine's the cost to the building. So if we're changing our DCP that all new homes need to have this, and also the legality of putting that into somebody's contract as well. I'm sure that has been checked, but I would like that also spelled out to me, that I'm not imposing something that I can't legally impose on somebody.
So we're deferring this to be clear, deferring this to get a report back on the installation cost of this, the financial implications, as well as what are the operational costs, ongoing operational costs.
Installation costs and whether we're able to mandate this as well.
Yep. So let me see. So I'll get to you. Moved. Seconder. Everyone happy with that?
Sorry, can I just...
Sorry, I've got a Councillor Harrell has had his light on for a while. We'll get to you in a moment. Next.
Sorry. What we're talking about here, and this has come up before in planning, we're talking about new buildings that are going to go in, and we need to make sure that the infrastructure is there. In other words, the size of the cables to supply the electricity has to be done beforehand, irrespective of whether or not the building is going to use that electricity. The point is, it's very difficult to retrofit the supply lines. It's nothing to do with whether or not you put EV chargers in there and the capacity and so on and the cost of the electricity. That's not our concern, really. I think our concern ought to be, in terms of planning, what infrastructure is necessary in terms of the electrical supply. After that, it becomes an issue for the owner.
Yep.
Yeah, I accept that, and I know that that's what we're talking about. But we're also talking about imposing this onto anyone building a new house in the LGA, and I just want to know the cost that is going to end up at the consumer's end.
All right.
Well, Mr. Mayor, as long as we're deferring this...
Deputy Mayor, sorry, Councillor Haggerty's was next.
Oh, you finished?
No, Councillor Haggerty, Harl is finished. Councillor Haggerty?
Yep. There was an article, I think it was in Council magazine or whatever gets sent around to us every week, and there is a North Sydney... I got it here. A regional charging network up in North Sydney. So the 3 or 4 of the councils have gotten together, I think, to solve this and some of the other problems around how do you basically put in the infrastructure to deal with what is coming, whether we like it or not, which is electric vehicles. Perhaps as part of this briefing and report, we can have it's Wallara and a couple of the other ones up there where my geography's not very good.
Yep.
Lane Cove, yeah. But have a chat to them, find out what they've done, what their experiences are. I'm sure they've got many more Tesla drivers than we do, and they'd be able to give us some learnings about the network and how it works. Thank you.
Great. Councillor Calienda?
Yeah, look, that was going to be my point in terms of, we're not the only local government in the state, let alone the country, that is faced with this problem. So how about we benchmark?
All right. Deputy Mayor?
Well, Mr. Mayor, as long as we're deferring this item, why can't we wait till we receive the report and debate this item?
We're almost done. Councillor Green?
Why wasting time? It's deferred. Save your question for later.
No, last one.
But this is
We'll go to Councillor Goodman next.
I referred that article to my colleague, Councillor Haggerty, because I felt that this, if we had a look at that kind of model of shared councils coming together, we could be a leader in Southwest. Isn't that what we want for Liverpool?
Yes.
That we be a leader and on the cutting edge?
Yeah, I think staff are doing, there's some work going there. All right.
And in support of Councillor Haggerty, that might address the cost to the consumer in the end. So
Yeah,
thank
lovely.
you.
All right, excellent. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it carried. Unanimous. All right. Plan 03, Moorebank Intermodal Street Naming.
Happy to move that.
Move
vote.
Councillor
Happy
Rhodes,
second.
seconded Councillor McNaught. Any discussion? Put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Against? I declare it carried. Next item is Plan 04, street naming for Middleton Grange, page 118, tab 4, the recommendation on page 118.
I'm happy to move.
Councillor Rhodes, seconded Councillor Green. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Discussion. Sorry, Councillor Howell, please.
Sorry, I didn't get to it in time. You're moving a little
Sorry.
bit too fast. Some of those streets that are being named there, I have some issues with the...
Intermodal or?
No, this is
Middleton Grange, okay.
104.
Yep, yeah, that's where we are. Just
Street naming. Some names that are being suggested, for instance, Boeing Avenue, Jetstream Avenue, Nacella, and so on. Could we use, if possible, something related to Australia? In other words, if we're talking about Boeing Avenue, why not Ansett Avenue?
We've got Qantas Boulevard.
Exactly.
Councillor, you can feel free to move that amendment if you like, and we'll go back to the geographical name boards and go through the process. So are you saying you want to get rid of Boeing and change it to Ansett?
Well, I only just looked at this and yes.
Sorry, what are the other, so considering we have a theme of, Qantas Boulevard so Australian aviation companies, do you want to make the rest of them aviation companies?
I think if possible, make it Australian rather than overseas.
Yeah, what other aviation companies do we have?
Jetstar.
Jetstar?
Virgin. Oh, yeah, Virgin Street.
No.
I'm getting on the phone to my real estate agent. Stop.
Fairly controversial was Reggie Ansett.
Bonza. Yeah. The house is really, really small. It's squeezed into the lot. There's not much leg room.
All right, let's say. So how many streets do we have? So in all seriousness, that was fantastic. Well, this will go down in history. Why did they name these streets this? So, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I have
6.
a question. Is this going to uphold anything with council?
No.
To go back to the naming boards with different names?
Getting it right is what's important.
It
There are
does?
7 names.
Does?
All right? In all
It's
seriousness,
inconvenient.
let's go. 7 names. What would you like? Because I think it's valid. If Qantas has one, we've seen how Qantas is, I'd like Qatar Airways flying into this country so we can have cheaper airfares, but you know what I mean? So Qantas gets a lot of advantages. They get free advertising for the people of Middleton Grange. So I'm happy to take 7 suggestions for street names that are aviation themed.
As I said, Ansett.
Ansett,
was
number 1.
One of our very early airways.
Rex. Come on. Number 3.
Bonza.
Are they even going to last?
I wholeheartedly support Councillor Green's contribution, hot air.
There is an Ansett Street. In where? Oh, that's all right. It's far enough. We can have it. Now, hot air. Jetstar. Do we have a Jetstar? Jetstar.
Guys, I've got the Wikipedia page up. Bonza.
All right, Jetstar. What else do we have? We have a Qantas.
Fly Pelican. They fly out of Newcastle.
Anybody want to have Richard Branson's one? It's Australian.
It's Australian based.
Yes, it is. It's not listed on the stock exchange.
Okay, well, if we're doing this thing.
Anything aviation. Well, do we have it? Actually, we've got Kingsford Smith, don't we? Why don't we have Bird Walton?
We need a big name for a big street for her. I'll tell you.
Mr. Mayor, just to put your name
No.
and move the motion.
No, I need 3 more names. I need 3 more names.
Bird Walton.
You don't, huh?
I want Bird Walton.
Bird Walton. Bird Walton. 2 more. I got Ansett, Rex, Bonza, Jetstar, Bird Walton.
Skippers. They fly out of Perth.
Mr. Mayor, I think this is silly.
Point of order.
2 more names. Councillor Harrell, it's your idea.
Par Avion. 2 words. Par Avion. They fly out of Tasmania.
Did you want?
We've got Wirraway is one of the planes. Spitfire is another. Mosquito is another. They were popular planes during the war.
Did you guys want to? We couldn't put Virgin, could we?
No.
Similar.
You can't put Virgin.
Yeah, or any other. All right. I've got 5 names, and we'll add on to any other name consistent with the street naming.
Can we retain Wirraway?
Whatever you like, councillor. Which one is that? That's
That's the last one, Wirraway.
We're away. Yep, that's
And
6.
also, we'll retain Pilot, and then you've got your 7.
Pilot.
That's number 2.
Done. Or any, and so that's the 7 names, right? Or any other name, or consistent with the Australian aviation industry. Yep. Move Councillor Oates, seconded by Councillor Green. No, yep. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Next time is Plan 05, parking enforcement Palager 129. I would like to move a motion. Point 1 in the book, point 2 in the book. Point number 3 is provide a report back to council on how many fines were issued and the dollar value collected since this motion was disallowed. I would say approximately to write a report back to council about how many fines were issued and dollars collected since, how can I put this? I put forward a similar motion in, I don't know exactly, in my first term. Please fix up the wording as you think appropriate. When we were told that the motion was illegal.
I'm happy to second that.
One other point. Consider who told us this was illegal? We've been told this is illegal for a very, 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 very long time, repeatedly.
That's what I was going to say after several councillors put up this same motion.
Over. Yeah, this has gone to numerous.
Number 5.
And number 5 is consider and this is only for consideration, a permit system and how the verges can be maintained.
Can I add something to the end of that? including an opt-out scheme. So if someone doesn't want people parking on their verge, is there a practical way we can do that?
Yeah, I think as part of a permit system,
Yeah.
we could maybe, like this could lead to maybe after I think it's important that you've obviously seen the feedback community has been talking about, and I think whether we do this through some sort of a permit system so it's not gone all over the place.
Yep.
Maybe that could be a way of doing it. But
Yep.
then you got to consider if someone's having a party and how does that work. So I think there's a few implications. We don't want to. I think it's important not to hold this up, but I think let's get the community's views and feedback. So if we were to, and how the verges can be maintained, and an opt-out system.
Mr. Mayor, I believe an opt-out.
I'm happy to
system-
second that. Have we got a seconder?
Mr. Mayor,
I think I already seconded
I
it.
think Councillor Rhodes had already seconded. Sorry.
Can I
I,
speak to this
I
one?
think an opt-out system is going to be very difficult to do because I live in a very narrow street, and for people that don't want to park in front of their
I
house,
reckon you live on the widest street in Liverpool.
no, not me. Flame Tree literally is the street after me.
Oh,
So if
Flame
you keep going
Tree,
straight,
yes. Yeah.
that becomes Flame Tree.
Yep.
So Flame Tree, if you've got two cars parked, you can't tell someone where to park. It's a public road. So if you to have an opt-out system saying, okay, I don't want anyone to park on my side, how do I know what I'm going to have to get someone to stand out the front and police it? Doesn't work that way.
No, I think this needs a discussion, right? And it's considering it's how we consider. I think what people are concerned about from the feedback that people have put online is that we don't maintain the verges, even
Yep.
though technically it's our land. But then if you got someone who's turning up there every day parking, and you got to go and cut that grass and maintain it, and I could see some issues. So I don't know what the solution is.
Look, I strongly back this, right? But I believe that if we look at implementation of parking bays in those streets, within those verges, so cutting out those verges, I know it's costly to council, but maybe we can come up with some type of a system where we talk to residents that want to have that bay in front of their house and they pay half, council pays half, or some type of a solution where we can reach a medium. Because I actually put something on Facebook yesterday, and I've had numerous people saying, no, we don't want people parking outside our houses.
Yeah.
Which means, okay, you don't want it, then don't pay for the verge, no one will park outside your house.
Yeah,
You want it?
So could we put in there what did you call it? the parking bays as well? So
Yeah.
as part of the 0.5 opt-out system and
So I think if we take an opt-out system, put parking bays, that sort of gives them an allowance. You want a parking bay outside your house? Pay $2,000. It costs $4,000.
Yeah.
You pay $2,000. Council pays $2,000.
yeah. So I think if we put parking bays, then we can work out.
Yeah. The logistics of it later. Yeah.
Basically, we're saying let's look at all these things: parking on verges, maintenance, permit system, parking
Yep.
bays, opt out. Look
Yep.
at it holistically.
Yep.
And we come back.
And let's get the community's
Feedback.
feedback
Very
on
important.
it.
Councillor Green.
At the end of the day, this mainly this raises the issue once again over narrow streets and what should be a reasonable minimum standard in terms of how wide a street should be, that it should be able to accommodate a car on both sides and free-flowing traffic in the middle. Now, since we've got the LEP review underway at the moment, I don't know what potential or capacity that we have to have something a little different, or how we join with other councils to lobby, particularly in those growth areas, that the days of 9-metre wide streets are really over. And, the fact is today that lots of people drive large cars, and, you can't have a situation where you've got like 2 Range Rovers trying to pass on a narrow street. It's just ridiculous.
Or 2 Hiluxes on either side, and you're driving through, you clip your mirrors. Happens to me every night.
Through the CEO,
can I-
Mr.
Yes.
Begg, can council just remind us, we recently changed the DCP, I think it was to the minimum road width. What did we change that to just to remind the councillors where we're up to? We know that the narrow roads are not suitable for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Director of Planning and Compliance.
Thank you. Through the CEO, we in 2021 undertook some revisions to the DCP in the Austral Leppington precinct to increase the carriageways of streets to the absolute minimum requirement that has been set under the growth areas precinct. So I think 16 metres is we can give you a range of the carriageway widths. I can take that on notice and give you some more detail. However, the 16 metre carriageway width, I believe, is the adopted minimum, and that's assumed to enable a car to pass through the street with a vehicle parking on either side. We did, during the course of those amendments, try and request greater carriageway widths than the minimum in the standard. However, there was pushback for a variety of reasons, one being that there was already precedent established within the precincts and that any additional increase in carriageway width that was deemed unnecessary would take away from development yield.
So just to be clear, future roads that are delivered in Liverpool will be a minimum of 16 metres wide.
Through the CEO, I'll take that on notice and provide you with some detail about the different types of roads and the minimum widths associated with each road. We have local roads, we have collector roads, and each of them come with minimum carriageway widths.
Well, what is the minimum size road that we have in this under that DCP? That's what I asked. Not what for this road at 16 metres and that. What is the minimum?
16 metres is the absolute minimum.
So one of those local roads that runs into a collector road is 16 metres wide. Is that right?
Yep, on the most part. As I said, there are different types of roads. There are laneways, collector roads and local roads, but that is the standard minimum.
My understanding, councillor, is it's 16 metres, but then you have to then minus the verges from that as well.
Correct.
So what your road actually ends up to being is a different number.
So what is the minimum width of the roads that we changed in our DCP, considering that the verges have come out of it? What is it?
I think the CEO is saying he wants to take it on notice and get back to us with the exact.
But she already said she'd take it on notice.
Yeah.
Come back to
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need no more fancy words. We just want to know what are the widths of roads that we're approving.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Deputy Mayor.
Well, Mr. Mayor, look, regard of point 3. Since the mayor put his motion in his first term when motion was illegal, well, at the time, do you think was legal and illegal to rule it out?
Sorry, say that again.
don't understand.
Point 3.
Yeah.
To provide a report back to the council about how many fines were issued and dollars collected since the mayor put his motion in his first term when motion was illegal.
No, when the motion was declared illegal.
Declared
So
illegal.
you need to say declared illegal.
Declared. So
Okay.
just to provide clarification.
Good. So now you add the word declared.
Yes.
At the time, so the council shouldn't rule the motion illegal, isn't it?
Correct. So basically what happened is, to provide clarification.
No, that's a very
Yeah.
simple answer.
Now I want to give you a detailed answer, right? So Parramatta City Council had a parking policy,
Yeah.
right? It was brought to our attention in that, I don't know whether it was 2012, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
And it said, wow, this diagram that you see here is effectively the policy that's in Parramatta's policies. I said, well, if Parramatta's doing it, why can't we do it, right? So we drafted it all up, put it, and we said, no, this is out of order because it's illegal, it's against the Australian road rules, so on and so
remember
forth.
that.
Once again, we've done the same thing this time. We were also told it was illegal. However, after significant amounts of work, thankfully by the CEO and the Director of Planning, they've been able to say, well, no, actually, we are allowed to use discretion. And therefore, right, if you were to do this, we will not fine you. So I will in a moment, once again, if that was nothing has changed from a regulation point of view, it's just could I use the word interpretation or that?
Yep.
Potentially, the hundreds or thousands of people would not have been fined in these years, and that's been a significant disadvantage. But let's now fix this, which hopefully this motion does.
Look, Mr. Mayor, I totally agree with you, and I do remember the conversation and the motion moved at the time.
Yeah.
It's my concern now if this number, point 3, released to the community, you have to open your pocket now and say, hold you responsible, look, you made the wrong decision and you booked me, please pay me back.
The motion doesn't say that, Deputy Mayor.
No.
Oh, be very prepared. Don't worry. Very prepared.
Through the CEO.
Can I just the CEO first?
If I can answer this question first before we get a little too confused. The law is the law at the time until it's been changed. So anyone who's been fined in relation to our regulations, our works, etc., have been fined. They were fined in accordance to the rules, regulations, and the laws at that date. If you change those laws from today, those changes are not retrospective, therefore future. I believe in looking at this, where the confusion had arisen is this. We as a council, you as a council, can change any rules or regulations relating to council roads. That is within your prerogative. To say that that's illegal, I'm sorry, I disagree with that. However, if you came to change the rules and regulations on a state road, you can't do that. That is for the State Roads Authority to do that.
All right, thank you. Councillor Rhodes?
Yes, I was just going to say the point of issue was that at the time that we've put these motions before, I remember we were pointing out that it was at council's discretion on this road rule. And that was the thing that we had difficulty in making clear to the council and why it was always rejected and pointed back to us. It's a road rule. We don't control the road rules, where in fact we've always had that discretion, and that's what we're taking advantage of now.
Thank you. Councillor Haggerty?
I'll make 2 points. Thank you for this, because I've been pushing for it as long as I've been on council and found it a very frustrating brick wall. It got to the point where I got a commitment from the Roads Minister to review the road rules and potentially give council's guidance on their ability to interpret. And in relation to discretion, we know we can exercise discretion because we did it during COVID. So I'm disappointed it took so long to get here. Here we are. Great stuff.
Put the motion, please, Mr.
I'm sorry, I think it's important, Councillor Haggerty, you're 100% correct, but I don't want to take credit for this. This was brought to my attention by the Mayor, and then we looked at it. So the reality is the credit should be given to the Mayor, and we've looked at it, and I still can't understand why it happened in the past, but thank you for what you said.
Thank you, CEO, but I give credit to the staff who've enhanced their interpretation of it, which is something we all united feel very passionately about, but thank you. Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, those against, I declare the motion unanimous. All right. And can I ask the councillors in a very nice manner before we get into that, we just tighten up our speaking a little bit, please? And I know everyone will have an opportunity to speak, but if we just be a bit more, observe a little bit more decorum, that'd be greatly appreciated. The next item is COM 01, page 146, tab 6, the recommendation on page 146. Councillor McNaught?
I have a motion, Mr Mayor.
What is your motion, Councillor?
I'd like to defer this decision for 1 month to bring to the next meeting so that we can have a councillor workshop, and we'll still get it into the next meeting so that the dates stay as is for a September to September action plan.
Do you have a seconder for that? Second.
Yes, happy to second.
Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it unanimous or deferred.
Wasn't unanimous.
Wasn't unanimous. No, it wasn't unanimous. COM 02, page 161, page 7, recommendation 161.
Mr. Mayor, I'm happy to move that with just an add-on.
Yes, you're moving the recommendation. So grants and donations, community sponsorship report. Yes, Councillor.
I would like to add, acknowledging just the amazing work that Christy Parks does for the community of Sudlia and the general community of Liverpool over the past 8 months that I've been involved with them, and to support them by taking up a table or a sponsorship at the coming event of the gala dinner that they're holding to the value of $5,000 if we want to go silver, or $10,000 if we want to go gold. It's up to the council.
So, sorry, when is that event, councillor?
That event is taking place. The reason why I'd like to add it on now.
Yeah, I guess if you can just explain to councillors what's the...
On the 13th of October.
On the 13th of October. So if we'd have to should miss out to the next one.
Yeah.
And then, so you're saying this would actually be, so you do it because we get a sponsorship for a table.
Yep.
Which means they'd print everything with
That's right.
and promote council.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Do you have a seconder for that?
Happy to second.
Seconder, Councillor Rhodes.
This question, do you have the money?
Yes, we have the money in the report, councillor. We topped up the account last month, so it's great. All right.
I've got a discretionary one.
And if we ever need any more, the CEO has a discretionary fund as well.
The CEO only found out about today, but we'll talk about that later.
Can you just say
who it's for, please, councillor?
Community kitchen.
Community
Cafe.
kitchen.
Community kitchen cafe, yeah, Sadlia, yeah. Yes, 2168.
And it's $5,000?
$5,000, yeah.
Yeah, I'd prefer to go 10 as a gold member, but if 5,000 suffice, it's up to you guys.
5,000.
You said 5, we'll leave it at 5.
Okay.
All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Com 03, page 171, tab 8, recognition 171. I'd like to move that this gets deferred for discussion of the Governance Committee. Do I have a seconder? Seconder, Councillor McNaught. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it carried. Next item is Com 04, page 194, tab 9, recognition page 195. The draft plan of management for Phillips.
Happy to move that, Mr
Councillor
Mayor.
Road, do we have a seconder?
Councillor.
Seconder, Councillor Goodman. Any discussion? This is wonderful to see, and thank you very much for all the staff involved in getting this.
Yes, great thanks to the staff for being able to put this together. It's been a lot of work, and we recognise the work the council staff has put in to be able to bring this to the council meeting. Thank you.
Yep. I'll put the
Question.
motion. Councillor Howell?
Question.
Yep.
In Phillips Park, we were supposed to be putting up some recognition for the people who donated that land to council. We were going to put in some background information on that. That hasn't been done. Was supposed to be done. How are we going with that?
I'll ask the Director, Tina.
Thank you, Councillor Hull. We plan to have a one-year celebration event in October. I believe it's 2 dates, September 20th and October something else. But anyway, we'll confirm the dates. But we will do that at that ceremony. Is this for the First Nations, particularly?
Sorry, it was more than that. We were going to put in some kind of plaque, some kind of information in there to give the background of that area.
Yep.
In there. We were going to do that. It hasn't been done. I spoke to the Heritage Officer about it, and it's sort of underway.
Yeah, we talked about this on the opening with the family at the time. Yeah, in the hallways and stuff.
Yeah, correct. That'll be done as part of that unveiling event, and celebration event. So thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? And declare it carried. Com 05, page 204, tab 10, declaration on 205, a permanent home for the City of Liverpool Historical Society.
Another one I'm very happy to move, Mr Mayor.
Move, Councillor Rhodes.
I'm happy to second with a
McNaught.
question.
Yes,
I just have
Councillor.
a question. I'm very happy that we found a permanent home for the Historical Society. If I could just ask, and this doesn't change my seconding, the financial implications we have at zero, through the chair, is that a true reflection of, because we need to now clean those facilities and we need to, so I'm not saying let's not do it, but I would think that we need to reflect the true cost of what that will be.
Yep, happy to, is the mover happy to add that? Added?
That was my question.
All information is always well received, Mr Mayor.
So I think if maybe, would you happy for that to be circulated around, Councillor McNaught? Or
Yeah, I'm happy. I just want to know for transparency.
Realistically, Councillor, it's that minimal and no cost to us. Any work being undertaken is going to be undertaken by us. We're assisting with the move, but again, that's happening when we move out of the library. It's all happening simultaneously. There's no real cost to us. It's not as if we're going out and doing additional things just for that on a specific day for that. That's going to cost us any real money.
I actually think there's a cost saving here, CEO, because of the amount of time and effort that everyone has put into finding a home.
All good. Happy with.
Sorry, and the opportunity cost. the opportunity cost if we were to lease that space out? What the going rate?
So, look, the reality is we haven't been leasing out. The reality is it's had no real use. The main part of the building is being used. That's what goes out. That's where the different groups are paying the community fees to come in, etc. This, to be honest, if you walked in it, no one's used it in such a long time. It's literally a closed, dead area, and they're very excited because it'll actually activate that whole building, and hopefully some of the people they'll bring in will also be out renting the other parts of the building, so it may increase income coming in for us. It was the perfect location.
Well, Mr. Mayor, as long as everyone happy about it, please put the motion.
Just so you know, Deputy Mayor, we can only put motions once we have 2 speakers for and 2 speakers against. So, right? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, against, I declare it carried.
Is that unanimous?
That was unanimous, and congratulations to the Historical Society on this historical moment for them. Com 06, report back on the amendment of the Grants Donation Community Sponsorship Policy, page 209, tab 11, Declaration 210. Councillor McNaught, did you have a motion?
I do. Sorry, the recommendation. It's more of a. I'm not sure that I think that the Sports Committee for their input into this, but I'm just not sure that we've hit the mark with that aspect of what we were asking about, which was sponsorship of people representing at national and state levels. I think more so that I know that we've increased that amount that's available to competitors and coaches, but still representing Australia at their chosen sport outside of Australia, I'm still not certain that that amount is appropriate.
Do you want to bring it back to the Governance Committee so we can interrogate it?
Just for that, just for the sporting part. The other part I'm very happy with, and I thank Council for their work on that.
Do you have a seconder for that?
Happy to second.
Seconded, Councillor Moon. Yep. Yeah. All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Now we head into corporate reports. Corporate report 01, page 217, tab 12. Book 1B. Employment of apprentices and trainees by council.
Move it.
Moved, Deputy Mayor, seconded, Councillor Harle. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it carried. Next item is Corp 02, Biannual Progress Report, June 2023.
Happy to
move.
move.
226, tab 13, recommendation 226. Move, Councillor Rhodes, seconded, Deputy Mayor. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. Next item is Corp 03, Investment Report, July 2023, page 269, tab 14, recommendation 270.
Happy to move.
Councillor Harle, seconded. Deputy Mayor, any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Against? Declare it carried. Next item is Corp 04, Functional Design Review, page 279, tab 15, recommendation on page 279. Councillor Rhodes, or was it McNaught?
Yes, I have a motion that I'd like to put up. It's just accepting the motion, the recommendation as per the book, with a additional point 4.
Yes, Councillor.
Provide a cost-benefit analysis financial report on the employment costs and number of vacant positions contained within the functional design and senior management structure as a future ongoing agenda item for the beginning in October for the Governance Committee meeting, so that fine-tuning, if necessary, may be advocated.
Yeah, and cost savings from vacancies.
Exactly. The reason for this is that we understand that we're in a very different economic situation where things fluctuate and they change very, very rapidly. And I think it's very important that Council, as a matter of good governance, has an eye on the ball at all times, and it enables us the opportunity to address moving forward, rather than setting in and saying, well, we'll just have to cope with this, you know. I think that it's better for us to be proactive rather than reactive as much as possible in this economic climate.
We just probably need to get the words.
The council might need, if you could,
Say it.
if you can pick up the words, she's got them written down, maybe if you just pick them up, that'll be the best to get the exact wording.
Sorry,
Okay,
Mike,
Councillor.
Yep.
can you just keep your mic?
Probably some response.
Just bear with them for a moment. Yeah, go for it.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. That's fine. It was always our intention to do that, so it makes it absolutely clear. It's not set in concrete. We will have to continue to look at it. We will have to continue to bring it back. We can easily bring any suggested changes to governance. We can meetings, and we can go from there. What's important is that we can now get underway. I should indicate and give thanks to, first and foremost, the staff who've been absolutely brilliant during the consultation period, have assisted enormously. The unions, the union delegates, union head office, from Graham Kelly down, we've met, we've discussed it. They're very happy with the new structure. They support the new structure. So it is something to take council now, forward in so many ways, but we will continue to look at efficiencies. We'll continue to look at synergies. We'll continue to look at, in some cases, moving certain sections within different directorates and putting them together with other sections because there are better synergies of them working together. This will have a huge impact when we move into the new building, so it's important to get this underway now. And I should say it's been a 6-month process, and again I want to thank all of the staff, in particular the executive, who've worked tirelessly on this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So thank you, CEO. I hear the union has been sending some very positive notes out there, but I know that I think they've had a lot of membership growth in recent times. They've, is it correct that you've joined the union? Connected now, Councillor Haggerty.
Yep. Look, can I? I'll put forward an amendment.
Just give me 1 second. There's a mover, seconder, Councillor Moon. Yes, Councillor Haggerty.
That we retain. Actually, I don't know if I can do this in open council.
I can't hear you.
I don't know if I can do this in open council.
I'm happy to talk to you offline if you want later.
Well, about to go to a toilet break, so once it goes. All right. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it unanimous. Thank you, everyone. I'll call for an 18-minute recess. We're back at 4 o'clock. Thank you. Resume being 4:02. The next item on the agenda is in Book 1B, Operations Report, Oper 01, West Rock Waste and Sustainable Materials Strategy, page number 288, tab 16, with the recommendation on 288.
Happy to move that way, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry,
Moved, Councillor Rhodes.
I was going to move it with some additions.
Yeah, what would you like to add on to it?
Well, I'd first of all like to ask whether this is possible. Since this is WESROC and we're talking about waste and sustainable materials, I am concerned that maybe we should be looking at a thing called waste to energy, you know what I'm talking about? And if we could incorporate that into this strategy somehow.
All right, are you happy to having as an extra point?
Quite happy to keep continuing that conversation with WestRock. It is a continuing conversation. It has not been ever dropped. It's just a continuing conversation that we're having and looking at different alternatives and different.
So can we, Councillor Rhodes? Can we add that as a point when Councillor Hall seconds the motion?
Yeah,
that we continue looking at waste to energy?
That would Councillor Hall be acceptable that Liverpool continues the continued conversation about
waste to energy?
Yeah, energy.
So Liverpool continues to continue the conversation about waste to energy.
To be honest, I'd like to see a little bit more effort in bringing that up to. That's what we've had. We've had conversations for over 2 years now, and we've got nowhere. And in Western Australia, they're currently building a unit that'll go online before the end of this year, 20 megawatt unit, we should be looking at something similar around the airport.
I think at the moment it's probably the state restrictions on waste energy, which is probably a bit of a problem.
Which is our problem. We can't move it forward.
Yeah.
EPA doesn't cooperate.
That's probably a worthwhile discussion. Can I recommend maybe having a discussion with staff about that? All right. So we have a mover. We have a seconder, Councillor Harle. We have the extra point added onto it. Put any discussion. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Next item is OPER 02. Managing drainage channels and waterways, page 90, tab 17, with the recommendation on page 290. No one's looking at you, Councillor Harle. Who missed out on the briefing session on his favourite subject, unfortunately.
I know I did. I understand. I was talking to the director about the issue, and I would like to see that probably deferred for more discussion, if that's possible.
Is there? Yeah, so you'd like to defer to get a briefing on the matter?
Yes. No, not necessarily just that. I think we should be looking at a more holistic approach to wastewater management. We should not just be looking at what's going down the stormwater channel. We need to look at research that's currently being done, and that is what's called a sponge city. In other words, we need to see what happens to the rainwater and how it gets into the ground and so on, not just how it flows into the stormwater drain.
So
Director.
All right, so move that it be deferred. So I think that you'd have to have that technical discussion with the staff. Or can I recommend?
I'll second the motion if we can add another point in there, and that is there was a report done previously on this matter where it was resolved by council to be able to do or look at replacing existing drainage for low flow drainage in residential areas, and then use the systems as have been identified as option 4, I think, in this, in areas where it's not around residential areas. That report included costings for going back to rectify those drains in certain areas that are not working. And if we could get that further information brought back to council so that we can re-examine that and the cost of it, I think I would like to see that before we make a
Council, are you happy with that? So in summary, that is?
That the council bring back to the... Are we going to...
Defer.
Could I add something?
Sorry, I thought we were trialling, I think it's option 4 at Affleck Gardens. Is that still happening? And can I take this on notice? Can I get an update on how the park's going there?
Would you say Affleck Gardens?
Yeah, Affleck Gardens in Middleton Grange. I think we're going to trial option 4 and build a park adjacent to it, and just an update on how that park's going. It can, or I'm not fussed. It can be in a Gantt chart. Doesn't have to be in a Gantt chart. I just want an update.
Councillor Green.
I was going to suggest, in picking up from Councillor Harle's suggestion about treating stormwater as holistically, if we could have a literature review on what is the recent, because I did search out some, I love databases, so I did search out some academic articles that are in 22, 23, so they are recent, where it does talk about the sponge city, it does talk about, what the different ways, so holistically. So I'm just thinking that if we're informed by evidence, is much better than being led by opinion. Do you know what I mean? So, if we've got the evidence, then we can make better decisions. So, if we're wanting to build a sustainable city, and we're looking at climate and climate change and all those kinds of things, and how we harness water, then and runoff, then the literature view might be very, very helpful.
Can we add a point 2 in the motion, which is still being written now, that council brings back that report previously supplied to council on the costings to go back and rectify the existing drainage systems to underflow systems. So point 2.
I certainly agree with what has been done, but I'm thinking, in terms of looking at forward planning, that looking at a literature view on what is holistically, from an engineering point of view, and a hydrological point of view on management of stormwater and rainwater, and Sponge City might be a very exciting component for people to,
Let's not forget about purple roofs as well. They're very helpful.
It's very, very, very helpful. And look, I don't get highly excited over the technical, but I did. There was some really good information in some of the articles that I passed on to my councillor colleague.
So can I just say, with regards to your report, Councillor Rhodes?
Yes.
So I think the best way, if you want to cut a long story short and a long...
Look, we're writing it now, Mr Mayor.
Pardon?
We're writing that point down now.
Yeah, but I can just... So the way that bearing in mind Liverpool has an extensive drainage network.
This was a report that identified...
previous report. So not a new report, just give us the old report.
A previous
So don't do a whole bunch of extra work. Just bring back what's already
just bring back the report that was brought to council once before.
I'll just refer to the CEO.
Through the CEO. So my understanding is that we're to investigate the existence of a previous report and also investigate contemporary, more holistic approaches to rainwater outside a stormwater channel, aka Sponge City, and come back to council on a report. Understood.
All right. Great. Moved, seconded. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Operation 03, Capital Works Carryover Projects, 306-18. Recommendation on 306. Moved, Councillor Green. Seconded Councillor McNaught. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare that carried. Operation 04, Telematics, page 311, tab 19, recommendation 311. I'm happy to move the recommendation. Seconded, Councillor Harrell. Any discussion? I moved it. No, I did.
Move the minute as a whole, please.
Move what in a whole, count, Deputy Mayor? No, we're not there yet. Don't worry. I want to speak for my motion. Can I? Do you mind? I just want to congratulate the staff on what is an extremely important initiative. As we all know, chain of responsibility is a very important thing that affects us councils in this room. And I want to say well done to the staff to getting the telemetrics up and running. It's positive, it's great. Local supplier, another good positive story there showing what we have within our community. But most importantly, the safety of our staff is paramount and the safety of our community. So it's well done for all those involved.
Here.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare unanimous. Next item is committee reports. Deputy Mayor, you had something to say? Move it as a whole, moved by the Deputy Mayor?
Seconded.
Seconded by Councillor Rhodes. Any discussion? Put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Questions with notice. Councillor Green?
Thank staff for the response. Provides very good information as to where our vacancies are, and certainly I would imagine that will form part of discussions in future governance committee meetings.
Yes, thank you. And you've really got to combine it with what you just passed on the restructure, where information as well is in addition to that, Councillor.
Wonderful, thank you. Again, Councillor Green, tree planting and the canopy.
Thank you to staff for the report. My question was, through the chair, when we replant trees, what is our commitment in planting trees that are native to this area? So we're not just planting any old tree, but we're planting trees.
Can I make a comment, Councillor Green?
Sure.
There is, I think our tree policy needs to be reviewed. There are numerous things inside of it, and I'm hoping that maybe we can do that in the governance committee in the next month or two, right? It will. And I'll tell you a great one. You know what's going to happen when there's trees everywhere in Liverpool? they're going to block the solar panels for people. We're going to have a problem.
What about the bin chickens? The bin chickens will nest in all the trees.
See? So we got to think about the trees and
There are certain trees that could be planted in certain places.
Yeah.
But clearly, we have a responsibility to increase the tree canopy
100%.
in our LGA.
So I think there was an example I went out during the week where a resident has panels and just wants to get a couple of council trees, doesn't want to cut them down, but a couple of trimmed, part of it trimmed to allow the sunlight to get through. So
yes, I've been following that email trail.
Yeah.
And it's common sense.
So yeah. So we'll do a review of that in the governance committee within the next 2 months, if that's all right.
I have a question.
Yes, Councillor.
There was, and I'm getting confused because we had a tree canopy policy that was incorporated, I think, into the DCP in the new release areas. There was? Or
Take it on notice.
take that on notice?
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, the thing that I want us to be aware of is that we need consistency because
Yes.
I believe in that DCP we had actual numbers of trees to be replaced when one tree was out, which is a lot higher than what we've been talking about.
So yeah, and I think so. Let's get this on the agenda, please, for the governance committee in a couple of months' time, and we'll start working on it. Okay, thank you. Next one is NOM 01, Keeping Cats and Wildlife Safe in Book 1B, 404, tab 28, recommendation on page 405. And I've allowed 25 minutes for this, so please, councillors, the floor is yours.
5 minutes? I don't think we need 5 minutes.
I said 25 minutes.
Oh, 25 minutes. So look, that's very generous, Mr Mayor. It will take me 5 seconds. I think that we supplied all the information necessary for people to be able to read the information. As I move the motion.
Moved. Seconded, Councillor Green. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried.
This is interesting.
Next one, NOM 02.
Yeah, look, to give you some background on this one, I was actually contacted by...
Page 419, tab 29, recommendation 420.
Contacted by people both here and abroad in regards to the specifically the exchange program. They appreciate that we have, I guess, wound back the sister city relationship, but did feel that the student exchange program had some value. This is both people in Japan and people at there was a few schools involved, but certainly 2 schools that were involved in the program want to see it continue.
Sorry, Councillor, you're moving your motion?
I am moving my motion.
Seconded?
Seconded by me, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Rhodes?
And so...
Enthusiastically?
Specifically, I would like to see this continue, and there are good reasons for it, which I've outlined there. I think the airport signed a number of MOUs with Japanese companies, fosters relationships, very good. And if we could just get a report back on potential sources of funding, we could even use the grant stream. So I think this has lots of benefits. And I have quoted the very wise words of Councillor Rhodes from 6 years ago.
Very wise decision.
Fantastic.
Councillor.
Wonderful. All right. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it unanimous.
Mr Mayor, I have an urgency motion.
Yes, Council. What is your urgency motion?
My urgency motion relates to the imposition of a weight limit along New Warra Road at Moorebank and other traffic measures along that stretch of road.
Great. And why is it urgent, Councillor?
It's urgent because it needs to be considered at the next traffic committee meeting, and if I wait, I will not make that meeting.
And it's a public safety issue?
It's absolutely a public safety issue that I'm sure we all know, has come to the forefront again and again, but more recently again.
I'm happy to accept that as urgency.
I'll second this motion. I think this is a fantastic one.
Yeah, so it's deemed urgent.
I have additions to the motion.
Yep, let's get it all. We are there. So, point 1, introduce a 5-tonne weight limit to vehicles travelling on New Orr Road, south of Newbridge Road. Investigates the feasibility and cost of roadworks entail widening of New Orr Road to provide 2 southbound lanes south of Brickmakers Drive and widening of Brickmakers Drive westbound to 2 lanes from Christian Boulevard, New Orr Road. Wonderful. As a long-time Chipping Norton resident, is anything wrong with the rest of New Orr Road? There's only a little bit left, which is definitely not suitable for trucks. Yeah.
Yes, I'm happy to speak to it.
Yeah, but do you want to make it the rest of New Orr? Because Because you've got New Aura from Alfred is what you've missed out on.
So, sorry, the New Aura Road on the other side, on the Chipping Norton side, is
Yeah.
already a 3-tonne limit.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Wonderful. Done. Beautiful. Okay, great. Yeah, speak for your motion. Feel free to speak.
Thank you. I really encourage everyone to support this. We've been at this for a while now. I know there has been representation made before, but I thank staff for the information as well regarding New Aura Road no longer being supported by the National Heavy Vehicle Regulator, as a B double route anymore. That is in the last 6 months or so. So I think now is the perfect time, particularly with the installation of the new roundabout and the challenges that has brought to the community. One way that we can lessen the burden on that road is to ban heavy vehicles as soon as possible. And then moving forward, we will investigate the feasibility of widening that road, which has been earmarked for widening for flood evacuation, etc. However, I think limiting imposing that weight limit will provide some immediate relief. It should be noted also that the Anzac Road also has a 5-tonne limit on it. Brickmakers Drive has a 5-tonne limit on it. There is plenty of access to Heathcote Road via Henry Lawson Drive and Moorebank Avenue, which are both designated for heavy vehicles. Let's leave the local roads local and let's move forward as fast as possible with this.
Here. Yep. Councillor Kelly, do you want to speak? Because Councillor Rhodes had something to add on to it.
Add on to it, if I may. First of all, I'll begin with a question. Is it possible for council to implement fines for vehicles travelling along local roads that we collect and contain within Liverpool Council? First question, yes. Okay, the bit that I would like to add in, because this is a fantastic motion, of course, but it does create the vehicles that used to travel along this road are now going to go, and I've got photographic evidence where it is already happening, where they're travelling through other local roads. So it's something which is just, we'll fix up this road and it'll move on to this other road. So the 2 points that I would like to add in there is that that we're able to provide a report back to council on a cost to the governance committee so we can discuss it, to provide traffic modelling for the entire LGA where we can identify our local roads. We're getting a no from the planner.
I think this would need to be dealt as a separate motion because it's where it's got an urgency motion to people driving trucks on Nora Road. Yeah, we can. Do you want to put your mic on? Sorry.
Yeah, the Director of Planning and Compliance.
Through the CEO. Councillor, this might not give you exactly the same detail, but if I can suggest an alternative, which is to provide you with a report on road limitations on the adjoining local road network, which will provide a baseline for us to start to understand potential alternative routes that trucks could take and what measures we can put in place to prevent that.
That will cover it. Thank you.
Wonderful. So just from a technical point of view, that will have to go as a question with notice because it's not form part of the urgency motion.
Yes. So we'll do that as separate. So don't add it to the urgency motion. Take it as a question without notice and we'll come back.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Calienda?
Yes. Look, I just wanted to very briefly lend my support to this. I know it's an issue that we have been discussing for a few years now, and one of the sort of corollary effects of not having a weight limit is the constant deterioration of New Aura Road itself. I know I've spoken to many residents over the last 3 years or so, where the number of potholes that are coming up, the degradation of road markings, all of those sorts of things are impacted more heavily because of that lack of weight limit. Because of whether it's, tolls, traffic, whatever it might be, all of these factors push people that don't want to use the major state roads or the highways onto some of these local roads, and unfortunately it's not a cost that council can bear. So I think this is one way of pushing back against that and ensuring that we do what we can to try and preserve our local roads for local traffic, which is what they are.
Which relates back to the question which has been taken on notice. And particularly, I agree with Councillor Caliander, we have to be able to find those offending vehicles. We keep the money, which we then use to do the repair works that these vehicles are damaging in our local area. So I don't know where that question with notice is going to fit into the minutes.
We've got to look at the enforcement.
Yeah.
issues.
Well,
Look,
anyway,
we'll take it all as a question on notice. We'll take it all, Council, as a question on notice, and the Director of Planning and Compliance will try and incorporate as much of that as possible. We'll come back, and if necessary, I'll take it offline with you to look at it, and we'll go from there and report back.
Wonderful. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare unanimous. We'll now move to Conf 01. We don't know. We're not going into confidential unless need to. But just before we do so, just 1 second. I need to ask a question.
Which book is this in?
Book 3. This one. Book 3.
I'm as confused as...
So, councillors, Conf 01 in confidential booklet 3.
Page 1291.
Page 1291. Having had a close look at this, I believe that I have a conflict of interest. So my apologies for not picking up any earlier. My conflict is a non-pecuniary less than significant. We are family friends with the owners of this property. Yes, my mother is good friends with them. So to avoid any perception of a conflict, I will be leaving the chamber on this matter. Can I please ask the Deputy Mayor to come and take over the chair?
Don't go too far. Do you want to take that with you and fill them both out?
No.
Walks very slowly.
Okay, now, Conf 01. Page 1291.
Happy to move that
Moved
way.
by Councillor
Seconded.
Notes, seconded by Councillor Haar. I put the motion. Any discussion? Any questions? None? I put the motion. All in favour say aye. Against? I declare it carried. Okay, Conf 02.
Happy to move that way.
Page 1.
No, you've got to wait for him to come back now.
Okay, wait for him. I'm going. I'm going, mate.
Harris, can you please bring the mayor back? You've only left than one.
It doesn't matter, man. I can stay till he will come back.
No, you can't. I'm lying, no.
Can I keep going, guys?
No.
Let's finish it all before he comes back.
I want to make sure they're all approved properly. We're not bringing them back. Nothing being polite, who goes in first? Yeah, I've got him here. He tried to continue, Mr Mayor, I wouldn't let him. No, no.
We should keep going the same way.
Should keep on going. Okay, thank you, councillors. So Conf 02, next item, page 1296.
Happy to move that way,
Move
Mr
Councillor
Mayor.
Rhodes,
Happy to
second Councillor
second.
Green. Any discussion? Put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it carried. Next item is Conf 03, page 30, tab 32, page 1319. Moved Deputy Mayor, seconded Councillor Harle. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. Next item is Conf 04, tab 33, recommendation 1319. There was a
Happy to move
slight
that way.
amendment to it from the staff.
Yep. In red.
The one that's in red.
And agrees in
Pardon?
accordance.
Con 04, but there's
04.
an amendment on your screen.
If you just, look on your screen. So what's been written in red? Slight adjustment to it.
Yep, happy to move that.
Moved, Councillor Rhodes, seconded Councillor Harle. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it carried. Next one is Conf 05, tab 34.
Yep,
Tab
happy to move that way.
34, page 1329. Oh, 1337. Move Councillor Harle, seconded Councillor Green. Any discussion? Put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. Next item is Conf 06, page 35. Sorry, tab 35, recommendations on 1343. Moved Councillor Green, seconded Councillor Harle. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare that carried. Next item is Conf 07.
I have a motion, Mr Mayor.
Yep, tab 36, page 1347. What's your motion, Deputy Mayor?
Defer Conf 07
Yep,
and direct the
CEO.
director,
direct the CEO.
the CEO. Okay, direct the CEO to come back to us with
Business
a
plan.
comprehensive business plan.
Yep, seconder. Councillor Amoon. Councillor Harle. Apologies.
Can I ask
Yep.
a question? Have we not seen a business plan on this before? Asking the director through the chair?
I'll refer to the CEO.
Look, thank you, Councillor. Look, yes, a business plan has been prepared, but since we looked at the running it as a council or running it through a private leasing, quite a bit has occurred since then. In fact, a number of other privates have come knocking on our door, providing a lot better proposals. I need to consider those. I need to do a more comprehensive business plan comparing us running it to what's now come in to run it. I still need to make at least that comparison. So I'm happy to defer this to allow the opportunity to speak to new people knocking on our door, as well as the reality is once the building went up, it's extraordinary the interest that suddenly has appeared in the building.
No doubt it has, but I mean, this isn't just about a business case per se, dollars and cents. This is also about other criteria being taken into account.
Correct.
Given that our council childcare exceeds the industry standards. So, you know, factoring into any decision making needs to be, you know, what are the risks in terms of turning over a much sought after area to provide childcare to council if those standards that council itself has set and exceeded cannot be met, and the impact then that provides to the community. The second part we need to consider is the fit out is knocking on the door. I do remember, you know, from the CEO himself, reminded us as councillors that, you know, this in terms of keeping to the dates that were set, that we need
Separate.
to really get our tails moving.
Sorry, that's a separate matter.
But no, it does fit in with this because, this decision making does, and the longer that we linger over, to me, in my own opinion, is a no-brainer. then the more we are lagging behind, and we're risking putting behind, what should be, moving and going with the flow to get things done. But the issue of the industry standards for childcare and council's own record needs to be taken into account.
If I could, I think it's really important that I need to clarify something, if I may, Councillor. So, Councillor, I don't want there to be any confusion whatsoever. So everything I've said about the fit-out, we need to decide today, I need to move today, I need to instruct Bill today, I've spoken to the banks today, being dealt with in item number 11, all relates to the 4 floors that we're moving into. In no way has that ever related to a fit-out for the childcare. We've not even gone down the path of looking at a fit out for the childcare. We've not planned for a fit out because some of the proposals we're now getting, they want to do their own fit out and we won't incur any costs whatsoever. So where before we had to do all the fit out, whether we ran it or we leased it, now we're getting proposals. I need to do the business case to now compare that I'm not spending $3 million and look at the ups and downs with that from a financial point of view and offering. That's the first part. The second part is, I can assure you, Councillor, this is deferred for 1 month. It's not going to make any difference if you ultimately decide, we run the childcare, you ultimately decide the option that we do the fit out. It's not going to make any difference because we are not using build for that fit out. We will use a specialist childcare centre fit out and we won't be doing it in conformity with the first floors. We're doing it in conformity with all the other childcare centres we know. We have a theme that goes right across all our childcare, so we have to maintain it within that theme. So, giving me a month, giving my staff a month to really look at this actually assists us enormously to come back with all those matters you raised for us. And my strong recommendation is, yes, I'm quite happy for this to be deferred for a month. That's very different to item number 11, where I'm going to be pleading the exact opposite.
Councillor Calienda.
Thank you, Mayor. Just sort of following on from Councillor Green's points, I am actually very surprised that the nature of the risks contained within this report are limited to just financial and the cost benefit of council versus a private provider, because I think within our community there is a broad understanding that most council facilities are accompanied by a council-run childcare centre, and where this may be the exception, our community may not necessarily make that distinction. And if there are any issues in terms of the provision of the standard of care, of a differing standard of care, and we see in the comparison that while council provides care that exceeds standards, the comparison we were provided in terms of an external operator, the quality of the service is just meeting standards. And my concern is that there is a reputational risk for council because people care about their children, right? And if there are different standards of care versus council-run childcare and an external operator, many people are not going to make that distinction of this is not a council-run childcare provider, and I am very uncomfortable with the potential for that reputational risk if we are, if we are looking at this and we're seeing that the service quality is different, and we still go down the path of option 2.
I believe we should take this off board because at the moment, with what's being said, we should be in confidential session because there's numbers going around and there's facts and stuff like that are only previewed to us.
I'm happy to answer the council.
We'll see if we go any further. We might have to, but yes, Councillor. Yes, sorry, CEO.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I be very clear? The position in relation, we've given you 2 options. You run it, council run it, public run it, and we've made a very clear option 1, option 2 for you to decide. Since the report, since that work's done, we've had quite a substantial number of knocks on the door that have put a very different position. I believe we owe you a duty to bring that to you. It doesn't change the position of us running it. We'll give a more detailed business case now compared to the new ones as opposed to the comparison of the other ones that came to us. It's still up to you as council to determine which option. So we've got option 1, option 2. there will now be an option 3, and it'll be a matter for you what you want to decide in relation to that. I'm not taking any of that away from you. It's not our say, but I think I have to give you all the facts, all of the information via the business case with all 3 options so you can decide.
As long
I
as
still have a question of process in terms of that a tender process went out, and which I'm assuming, and childcare centres applied. We've got a report based on that procurement or that tender process. Is it then, from a legal perspective, and now just because other people who either didn't apply in the original tender process are now knocking on the door?
Yeah. So,
I'd like to know from a purely a legal perspective, you know, this is how, you know, you see other areas get into trouble where you've got a panel, you've made a decision, and then you get a knock on the door, but other people want to come in. So I just want to get that cleared up.
So, Councillor, it was expressions of interest. We've made no determination. You've made no determination. If you were to make a determination today, if you were to say today, I choose X to run it privately, well, that's the end of it. If you made a determination today, no, council runs it today, well, that's the end of it. If you make a determination today, it can be deferred so we can investigate further. There's nothing to stop us from investigating further. We may investigate further and come back to you saying, nothing, it's still 1 and 2. You still have to make a determination. So there's nothing improper by what we're doing. We have to look at what is in the best interest of the ratepayers in conducting this childcare. There was a 4th option, and the 4th option is you may decide no childcare centre at all, and you just simply lease the community. You made that clear you don't want that. That's why it's not an option. So we're proceeding appropriately.
From an expression of interest perspective.
There's nothing inappropriate by what we're doing.
It was open, it closed.
Yeah.
We had a pool of people that applied.
Yeah.
We looked at it. And then, just because then people come along after that expression of interest has been finalised, and then say, yes, but here it is.
We will go back to all of the others who expressed an interest, and we'll let them know that we're seeking further information. There's nothing inappropriate about that.
Yeah.
It's done all the time commercially.
Councillor McNaught.
I just wanted to make a comment, if I can. I want to congratulate staff on the amazing job they do with our council-run childcare, and I look forward to seeing whether any of these other expressions of interest can reach that benchmark, because it's certainly something to be very, very proud of, 100%. And that's the challenge. So for us to get the best for everybody that we can, I look forward to seeing if anyone can reach that benchmark.
And a part of the report obviously will include their experience and qualifications and any sort of other issues that may address the concerns of Councillor Green.
The reason I've not named any names or indicated who it is we could look at them and 5 minutes later say not interested, would have no more discussions. Everything Councillor Green said is correct, everything you've said is correct, that's the end of it. And we'll come back next month. But the 1 month deferment makes no real impact on us as opposed to item 11, which I think is
All right, it's moved that matter be deferred. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I declare it carried. Next item is Conf 08, tab 37, 1347. Move Councillor Harl. Seconded. Councillor McNaught. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I'll declare that carried. Hold on. Sorry. Next item is Conf 09, tab 38, page 1360. Move Councillor Harl, seconded Councillor Moon. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? I'll declare that carried. Next item is Conf 10, questions with notice. You have the answers?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Council, for your response. I received one date. I don't know whether that's the date that the legal advice was requested or the date that council received the legal advice. Can I have some clarification from council?
The back. Yeah, last page. Last page.
Councillor, look, let me take that on notice. I understand what you're saying, and I'm happy to catch up with you offline. But let me get back and find out exactly a more detailed answer for you.
All right, I have another question that council might be able to answer now. Does council actually have a procedure for requesting legal advice? Is there a procedure that council follows when they're requesting legal advice?
Sorry. So, as you know, council can direct that the CEO obtain legal advice. You've also brought in the new aspect where 3 councillors can ask.
No, that's not the question.
You're misunderstanding. When we decide to get legal advice.
Yes, do you follow a procedure?
So, the procedure is this. So, I meet with our general counsel on any legal matters.
Yep.
With the relevant director.
Yep.
And if I'm satisfied, and on the advice from General Counsel, that we can deal with the matter internally, we do not need to go and obtain external advice, we will deal with it internally. If General Counsel recommends, or I feel that I would like to get independent advice from either a barrister or from a firm of solicitors, then I will give that instruction for that to obtain. I sign off on it, and General Counsel will proceed and obtain that advice. It will then come back to me, and then we'll make a determination. We really need to deal with it step by step, depending on the advice that comes back.
So on March 27...
Yeah, I understand that.
On March 27, the question was about whether it was legal advice that council received. I anticipated that would mean external legal advice. Perhaps that wasn't clear in the question. Happy to take it offline with you and discuss it in more detail.
Yeah, that's probably a good discussion to take offline. Lovely. Okay, wonderful. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but our last and final item is
11, the big one.
Conf 11. In Conf 11.
Yep. That's Book 6, Mr. Mayor. Page 3, Book 6.
Book 6.
It starts at page 3.
Conf 6. Huh? Oh, Book 6, sorry. Book 6, Conf 11. Thank you. Sorry, Councillor.
Yeah, Conf 11.
Did everyone find the right book yet?
It's page 3 on Book 6.
I'm happy to move the motion as per the recommendation in the book.
Moved. Councillor Rhodes. You have a seconder, Councillor Moon?
I'm happy to second that and just add.
What point would you like to add, Councillor?
Just that the Mayor writes to the community advising them of the implementation of the financial situation with Civic Place.
Councillor Rhodes, are you happy with that?
What was it again?
Just you want to say it a little bit slower, Councillor?
Just for the Mayor to write to the community advising them of the implementations of Civic Place.
Fabulous idea. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. I think it's the financial implications.
Can I just clarify what those implications are? If we're going to run into the community, we obviously want to understand the nature of
The significant borrowings and financial situation that this has put council in, and I would say, I think you've been dealing with this for, I think we all understand the numbers. I hope we do anyway. All right. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Keep your hands up. One. Against? Declare the motion carried. Please have my name revoted recording against it. And thank you, everyone. I now declare the meeting officially closed.
President.
Which one, sorry? Another addendum? Wait, there's more? Sorry, there's more. My apologies. It's not closed. We're on. Which addendum now? It's actually a good question. And I'm sorry for those who are watching. We've got around 10 booklets in front of us. Oh, Plan 6 has been dealt with already.
Yes.
So, yep. Council agenda addendum. So this booklet? Book 5. This booklet? Book 5, the purple one? Sorry, thank you. My apologies, everyone.
Happy to move as per the recommendation.
So Plan 07.
Sorry, can I speak to this one?
Tab 66. Sorry, page 66, tab 2. 1 second. Move Councillor Rhodes. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Moon? Yes, Councillor.
I have serious issues with the proposed road network. They've been raised, I think, at least twice now in Traffic Committee. In particular, Main Street, where it connects up to what is Middleton Drive, doesn't quite connect properly. It is a dangerous intersection, and I believe that the map in this report has deliberately obscured that because it's been complained about on multiple occasions, and here we are trying to...
I think that comment is out of order, Councillor. To say that it's been purposely obscured is quite derogatory.
Well, the map on the left doesn't. Why does the map on the right, given it has been knocked back twice?
To say that it was purposely done is you're implying that there's inappropriateness happening, that a council report is being altered, so for a nefarious reason. So you can say they look different, but to say your opinion of why they are, there's two different things.
Coincidentally, where that intersection has been obscured. It is a dangerous intersection. It has been raised multiple times at Traffic Committee. The proponent either has refused to or is unable to fix it, and it's going to cause traffic chaos. So it's probably been going on 18 months now.
Can you just clarify?
Page 70. So on the right-hand side, the one that neatly obscures all the other adjoining roads, you've got the one in, I'll call it magenta, Main Street, number 4. So in the top left, where it meets Southern Cross Drive, previously Middleton Drive came through nice and neatly from an angle. That you've basically got Main Street here, and then you've got Middleton Drive sort of over here, so it doesn't quite meet up. And you've got this weird S intersection. That will become the main way through Middleton Drive. As I said, it's been repeatedly knocked back at Traffic Committee, and now it's trying to be pushed through here as a DCP amendment, and I have strong objections to it.
Is that clarified? Yeah. I'll refer that to the CEO, please.
I'll refer it to the Director of Planning and Compliance.
Through the CEO, I'll refer it to Charles Wiafi, who's online.
He's online. Charles?
Good afternoon, Councillor Nathan. I did hear you about the DCP amendment, but the DCP amendment would not take precedence over the Traffic Committee process. So the DCP at the moment is simply showing that there will be intersection treatment. That intersection treatment would need to come back to the Traffic Committee. We've previously given advice to the developer that an appropriate treatment needs to be identified, and it could be in a form of elongated roundabout, or otherwise, as we've said on 2 occasions, that the Traffic Committee would not support the intersection treatment. So in a nutshell, this DCP amendment does not change the traffic arrangement. It would need to come through the traffic committee for support and council's approval.
So I'm reading from the report here. The DCP amendment primarily seeks to update the road network. This includes the provision of a new north-south connecting road, Main Street, to the west of the local centre, and a local street, Middleton Drive, connecting with Qantas Boulevard to the east.
Yeah.
So if I read that, what we're agreeing to is this proposed road network. And if we agree to that, it makes it very hard to move a road 3 or 4 metres to the left so it lines up with the adjoining road across Southern Cross Drive.
Through the CEO, the DCP is trying to set up the road network. The DCP has not really identified what the intersection treatment is going to be. I agree with the concern that if we fix the road location, we may not be able to change it when we come to look at intersection treatment. But the advice I've given to the planning team and to the developer that the local traffic committee would take precedence and make a recommendation for an intersection treatment.
Through the CEO, I have a question. Is the fourth point the relevant point? We're going to receive a further report on the outcome of the public exhibition and community consultation, after which it's coming back to council. And that is when the real situation is about what council's decision is.
Well, as long as it looks the way it does, I can't support it. So that's point one.
It has to be
All right, so you're voting. You're speaking against it, Councillor Haggerty.
I am.
All right. Okay. Any other further discussion? No. I'll put the motion. All those in favour, please raise your hands. Against? Declare it carried. Next item is Plan 08, Amendment to Fees and Charges for Planning Certificates of Private Certifier Certificate Registrations. Page 191, tab 3.
Sorry, Mayor, I think I have to declare an interest in this. My brother's a private certifier.
Okay. Will you be leaving the room or stay?
Yeah, I'll leave the room.
Okay, just one moment. If you can just grab the appropriate form and fill it out. Ooh, nice one. All right, thank you. Moved, Councillor Harl. Moved, Councillor Harl. Seconded. Councillor Moon, any discussion? Put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. Could somebody please call Garab Councillor Goodman? Because he can't hear us when he's outside.
He's probably having a cigarette.
And before he lights up.
He's probably having a cigarette. Unbelievable that you did that to him.
It's a free country. People can still smoke. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
See, he did it. He's still inside.
All right, next item is COM 07, page 194, tab 4, Community Shuttle Bus. Move Councillor McNaught, seconded Councillor Green. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. Next item is Corp 05, Local Government Annual Conference Board Election, page 200, tab 5. What's it asking for us? We need to... Who wants to attend and spend their time there?
I would.
Pardon?
I would. I have a report to give.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, here's the, what do you call it?
I think you should all attend to hear my report. It'll be riveting.
Do we have to pay for you?
I don't want to reveal too much, but it's been a good year as Treasurer.
You can only have 10, so if someone volunteers not to go...
Who's not going? Councillor Carnegie, are you going to this?
No, I'm here.
I can't hear you, sorry.
Yes, mate.
You want to go to it?
Do we put up our hands of those people that are going then?
Is there someone who doesn't want to go, is the
What
question.
about...
He's trying to unmute himself.
So we have to choose 10 councillors.
I've got a vote as treasurer.
We have 11 councillors and 11 vote. Because Councillor Haggett is still on the board and he's entitled for one vote. So the rest of us, we can have a vote.
Oh, so you have a vote already then?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not one of the 10, you're separate and the 10 go.
Yeah, that's it.
That makes
Move it that way.
Well done. So put the recommendations.
So all councillors are voting delegates except for Councillor Haggerty because he's already that's a amendment to point 2.
Happy to move that motion if it hasn't been moved, Mr Mayor.
Aren't we sleeping?
Yes.
Rose Hill.
I moved the motion. We should have done that first.
You happy to move the motions?
Yes.
Yep. All the motions. Anyone have an issue with any of the motions?
Conference.
Yep, seconded Councillor Green. All right, any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried.
2C, 2B.
Last item is Committee 07, page 205. I think just worthwhile to note of the conflicts that the CO and I both had in that meeting. So they're there.
Happy to second.
Moved. Sorry.
That's the Deputy
Howell.
Mayor.
Deputy Mayor.
Moved it.
All those against? All those in favour? Against? Declare it carried. Thank you, everyone. I declare the meeting closed at 5:01.
I'll just.
Let's get
Two presentations. My apologies.
Mine's very quick. A couple of weeks ago, Councillor Calianda, Councillor Hull and myself were at a function where Council was presented with a certificate of appreciation from the Lifeline Macarthur and Western Sydney for our support of their 60th anniversary Diamond Ball. So I will pop that into the councillors' room and thank everybody for their support.
Yes, Councillor Rhodes.
Yes, mine's also equally quick. It's about the West Rock annual report. It's now available. West Rock Regional Partnership projects generated some significant economies and regional improvements and collaborations that results in savings for member councils. 2.1 million of grant funding managed on behalf of member councils, 1.3 million in joint Australian and New South Wales funding to address heat risks in Greater Sydney, 100% renewable power purchase agreements through local government procurement, and 36 million in energy savings for member councils to date in energy costs, capital costs and maintenance charges through sustainable energy products. Advocacy and policy outcomes for 2022-23. Heat risk funding, heat wave was included as a eligible hazard under the National Emergency Management Agency funding programs. West Rock worked with Green Building Council of Australia to develop heat resilience credits in version 2 of its Green Star Communities tool. And after urging by West Rock, the New South Wales Government has established an independent review of the financial arrangements of Council. Western Sydney Energy Program efforts resulted in a reduction of 536,714 tonnes of CO2 emissions. And after 7 years of advocacy, urging government to make monetary tolls simpler, fairer, the New South Wales agrees to review the road tolls. West Rock also provides. Sorry? I said we're on it. West Rock provides input to the development of the Australian Government's National Electric Vehicle Strategy, and the West Rock 22-23 annual report is now available, and I urge Council to distribute it through the councillor update. That's
Lovely.
it.
Thank you, Councillor. I now declare the meeting. Oh, one more as well. Oh, thank you, Councillor Calianda.
Thank you. Also, a very quick one. On the weekend, Councillor McNaught and I attended the TEAG 2080 festival that Council provided some funds through the corporate sponsorship grants for. The Macarthur Region Nepalese Association was very thankful for council support and wanted that to be placed on the record. So I thought I would share that with my fellow councillors and council staff and thank them for all of their support for the organisation. And I will also put the little statue thing they gave me in the council's room. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you, everyone. I now declare the meeting officially closed. Thank you.